figured out the best way to inform my past self if my future self wanted to get into contact with me subtly. Right? Like
This is the most out there start ever, I think.
I just had this thought when I was driving the other day. I'm like, you know what? It'd be the best way to do this. Like, I imagine like my future self needs to get in contact with past self, but how do you let them know that like you're back from the future and you need to like talk, right?
True.
So you go to a spot that I hang out, or like some sort of like let's say a brewery, okay? And then you put on the music and you play one of my playlists, right? Because like if I hear songs that I like, I'm like, oh heck yeah, this is good. But if I hear every single song as a song that I'm like,
I love
this
it.
person's got the best taste, I'd try and find the person and be like, yo,
You got great taste.
That's awesome, you know.
We gotta be friends.
And then it'd be me, and I'd be like, we need you for this thing.
Wait, why can't you just go up to your past self though
you choose
and be
to
like,
accept
hey?
it?
I don't know. I have to be subtle for some reason.
Oh,
It's
okay,
like,
so it's like a law.
it's
Yeah, like
Yeah.
he has
I
to,
don't know.
He has to approach you. You can't approach your future self. Can't approach your past self. But if you needed your
But if
past
the
self to
past self
approach
approaches
you,
the future, it's okay.
yeah, that way it doesn't break the timeline.
So
or
how do
something.
you get the past self to do something? It's like, oh, and that's something I think I do.
Yeah.
So,
Like 3 songs in the same order from your playlist. It'd be like, oh,
or I mean, like I have like one playlist called Bobbers, which I was listening to today, and it's like every single one, awesome. I'm like, so if that plays and I hear it, I'm like, oh,
Bobbers?
wow, like
why,
this,
why the name Bobbers?
because it makes you bob your head. Bobbers.
Bobbers, not bop?
It's a head bobber.
That's
Yeah,
a new
they're
one.
all head bobbers,
That's,
dude. You know?
that's a new one. Not bangers, but they're just bobbers. It's chill.
Well, bangers is a different BPM.
yeah. It's
you
a
know, like
different vibe.
bobbers is
altogether.
like, you know, there's a definite BPM for them.
Yeah.
I feel like what I would do is I just like hold up a sign or something, like hold up a sign of like my biggest fetish, and like that'll get my attention.
But would you approach? if you
That's
saw-
a good question. That's a good question.
Yeah.
I would.
know.
I'd be like, yes, this man of culture. I would definitely approach him.
This fan of culture.
Yeah.
What an
It'd
interesting
probably be like
scenario.
I'd probably have a secret keyword or something like that.
But how would you
Like
know
a secret
that keyword?
phrase.
How would you
Like
know?
an announcer
it's
comes
like a-
on,
it's
on
like
the
a
radio, is
phrase.
like, "Hey, we got Orange Monkey Eagle," and like you're like, "Well,
Yeah, like
I know."
instant trigger.
Yeah.
Like this is what I've.
Yeah.
Hey. But
Like,
what do you,
Finally. Yeah.
my thing is, Sean, if you went back before those songs existed, how do you get those bobbers out to your past self?
Well, I
then?
wouldn't be able to, right? That's the thing. It's like I would have to go and play the playlist from that period of time of my life, which is a good thing. I've organized all of my playlists by year.
So you take the first half
Seriously?
if they've only come out at that point. You're good.
Wait,
to go.
yeah.
no,
So
wait.
it's like,
hold up. You seriously organized your playlist by year?
Well, yeah. So I when I make new music, besides like bobbers, I haven't organized bobbers by year, but like for most of my new music that I get, if it's the year, all right. So we're in 2022, so I'll make a year 2022, and then inside that I will do like the type of playlist that I make. So there's rock and alternative music, and then I put 50 playlists in that song, or 50 songs in that playlist, and then that becomes part 1. And if I get more than that, then it becomes part 2. And then when a new year starts, I just make a new folder, and there we go. So now I've been doing that since like 2017, or 2017. I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The level
then-
of organization.
Every year, it's
Every
like
new
I go back
song.
and be like, oh man, 2017 Electric Else Part 2 was a bop. And, you know,
That was a bop. What if you find a 2015 song in 2022 though? Does that go in the 2022 playlist or a completely separate?
I mean, like when the
playlist?
song came out.
Yeah, like if you discover old music.
That doesn't matter to me. It's when I discover it.
oh,
So
really?
you're the
So
center of the
is it-
universe.
even if you
Because
see,
it goes, it's like my tastes evolve over time, you know. So
Oh.
then,
Yeah.
so like you could be like, oh, like it's if you like an 80s band or get into an 80s band in 2022, you put their music in
Yeah.
your
yeah,
that would confuse me. I'd be like, when did I like? Oh, okay. Like I guess I got into this band at this year. I'd lose
all
track.
about
I
the
feel
vibe.
like.
Yeah, because to me, it's like how my tastes change over time. So like, I will more likely to all the songs in this playlist will be a similar vibe and or like interest to me generally.
Yeah, I kind of get what
And
you're
I
saying.
still like pretty much all the music that I've listened to, but sometimes like I'm not feeling that right now, but because my tastes have changed at this point in time, and I don't know, it makes sense to me.
Yeah, I that's
And then
just
I occasionally make custom playlists like the Bobbers or like night driving or stuff like that.
Night driving, great playlist.
That is a vibe though.
It is a
Night
vibe.
driving.
I'm meaning to
Yeah.
make one that's driving in the rain.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh, just
or
songs
just
with
rain
rain
in general.
backgrounds. I love songs with the
Because-
rain backgrounds in it. Well,
Well,
it
not
actually
that
is
songs
raining.
have rain backgrounds, songs that feel good to play when it's raining.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's definitely sad songs. I don't know, almost exclusively sad or somber, bittersweet songs.
It's not necessarily sad, but it is slower generally for me.
Yeah. I usually organize mine either by genre or by like vibe. Like if I'm feeling melancholic, I'll like
melancholic. Yes,
yeah.
a great vibe. I don't organize my music at all. It's way too much work. Or it'd be probably good, but like for me, like Google or Spotify, whatever I'm listening to, whatever platform I'm listening to, just does a good job with like your most played songs of this month, and it like sorts them into a downloaded folder, and I just click on that whenever I need to listen to downloaded music, and that usually is pretty good at getting me new stuff and my old stuff that I like. But it's weird because I'll get like pop, and then I'll get rock, and then I'll get like foreign music all in the same vibe. So it's just like my favorite music, not a vibe itself.
Before I started using Spotify, like I think freshman year of college, I did this. I took my whole iTunes library, which is like a lot of songs. It was like 2,500 songs ish. And I spent way too much time categorizing every single one. So like I came up with this code system, that I can't even remember anymore. And I don't even use iTunes anymore, so the whole thing is useless. But like there was a number, a letter, something, and then that equaled like a quick description of the song, And I had a whole chart that what they all meant.
Yeah,
That
you'd be
is
why
like
I
next
did
level.
this.
yeah,
like,
that is
oh,
that was
shit.
the next level.
I wouldn't be able
It
to
was so
remember.
useless.
Yeah.
That is pretty high.
I think it was just
high.
something to do. Like occasionally I just need something to do like that.
Yeah.
So I
Sean, you just really like organizing. Like you're definitely
do.
a guy
It's
who
a-
almost is like, if you can organize it, it's like, yeah, that's a great project. That's a great
right.
project that I'll take on.
yeah, it's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because you have that compulsion to basically just like organize everything, like to a certain degree, where it's like,
I mean, it's
see
just
X,
like-
Y, Z.
If I find a project that I want to do, I then just have to do that. It's not like everything needs to be done that way. It's just like, oh, that's a good idea, and then I have
And then
to
you just do it.
know?
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You try it out.
But like I have no problem with things. Well, I guess I do have a problem with things being messy, but like it's not as much of an issue. I went to I occasionally am like, I look around at my apartment and I'm like, man, I gotta clean this. It's not
yeah.
too messy. This is, I need to dust.
I
all
need
this
to
stuff.
dust.
I'm like, and I get to a point where I'm like, this is just an unacceptable level of cleanliness,
Of
And then
cleanliness.
I've gone to like a friend's house, and then I look at their house or just like somewhere in general, and I'm like, I guess my level of cleanliness is really good.
It's pretty decent. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty high, dude.
Yeah,
have you
because
like?
I look around, I'm like, this is what I'd spend the entire day cleaning if I was
Yeah.
like in this environment.
My place
Yeah.
is like pretty. I usually am not the best at it. I've been getting better, but like usually it's pretty chaotic. Colton knows exactly what I mean by this because he lived with me for a year. So like,
Yeah, I'm
where I
not-
basically like kind of like leave shit around it, or like I don't know, where I just like have places for things, but they didn't make sense except for me. Like it'd just be like sitting somewhere like out in the open. It's like, okay, this is a visual aid for me. Like for instance, one thing, at least for me, that pissed you off, Sean, is my desk is always very cluttered. It's a lot of stuff on it because for me, it's like I need to see everything,
See all your
like
contents.
tools, anything I need.
Well, that
to,
makes
like,
sense to
access.
me. Like
But it's
certain
not, like-
areas I have that are like that are cluttered ish. Like, just off camera here from you guys, I just have like
You have a piano?
You know, some sound panels sitting
Yeah.
on a bench, you know, and they're like, that's put away. Like I've some PC parts right there, you know, just a couple. But to me, it's the surfaces, like
Yeah. Good
the general
surfaces are
surface,
nice.
like my island, it gets cluttered, and then I'm like, I
Can't-
gotta clean
can't do
those.
it.
Like
Can't do
I gotta have see the whole island, you know.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Yeah, for me,
Or
it's-
like my room. Like I hate having stuff messy in my room. So everything in my room is actually pretty spotless.
yeah, my stuff is like if it's out of sight, it's out of mind sometimes. So it's like sometimes if stuff gets really dirty, I'll be like, throw it in the closet real quick, close it, I'll think of it later. And then
Yeah.
I'll come back to the
Because
problem
then I
later.
open the closet, I'm like,
I can't do it. Out of sight, out of mind. Out of sight, out of mind.
But when I do organize things, at least I don't know about this for you, Colton, but when I do organize things, I usually go like hardcore. Like for instance, tool cabinet. I had like organize a tool cabinet with like the like the boards and everything like that, and like got like all the organized equipment. Same with my computer case. I organized that really well. But like I basically like drew the marks on the wall, and then had like mounts for all the individual like tools like hammers and a bunch of different screwdrivers and stuff like that. Like actually like marked out, so you know exactly where to put it back when you're done using it. But I don't know, for day-to-day stuff, it's pretty disorganized. I'm not gonna lie.
I just have a cleaning fairy that comes along and just cleans everything up. I don't know where it came from. I'm just very blessed to have it, AKA my girlfriend.
you should just stop
Jeez.
one day and see what happens. Like, see if you get to a point where you're like, hey,
Hey,
What's
this
going
is
on here?
insane. I can't believe this.
Yeah. Did she clean up after you a lot?
I don't think it's after me a lot. It's just sometimes like things pile up, simple things. Sometimes like dishes. If we have a long nights, we'll just we won't do dishes for a day or two, and then it piles up. And my resistance to needing to clean is higher than hers, so she does it first, and then I'm like,
that's
well,
what I have too.
that's
in terms of like mine's a lot lower.
yeah, mine is pretty high. I mean, once the dishes start real piling up, then it's like that's an issue. I also noticed like because I was living alone for a little while, I actually had a lot of passion. I was like passion to keep the kitchen clean. But when I'm not doing it as much and I'm not actively doing it as much, the passion fades and I let the fairy do it. So
Yeah. Also, there's like a certain thing of ownership, right? Like I feel
Yeah.
like I usually try to take care of my own stuff like a lot, but if I'm like at an apartment complex, I'm not like
yeah.
too worried about the actual like apartment stuff. It's like I'll
Oh,
keep
like
it
your own,
to a
like-
reasonable
yeah.
level.
Mhm.
But like if it's like something that like I own, it's like I want to keep it clean.
Yeah, like I'll
When
punch a
I
hole in my
lived-
apartment wall. I don't care about that wall. It can.
I don't know about that, but
it
like
can just get destroyed.
Yeah.
When I lived at home with my brother, we did not see eye to eye in any sort of cleanliness because he's comfortable with things everywhere.
Yeah.
And I'm absolutely not. So like, the big, I
I'm
mean,
gonna get
the
it.
only time this really was annoying was in the bathroom because we shared a bathroom. So it's like I just don't like things out. Like to me, in the bathroom, there's a medicine cabinet or a sink. Everything can be put away.
Oh God, you'd hate my bathroom.
I'm gonna get to LA
Yeah,
and I'm
probably.
just gonna throw
So then
everything in the
if there's
apartment.
like more than two things on the counter, I hate it. Like everything goes back in a drawer. Except for like the toothbrush that's it goes in the counter.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna make. I'm gonna throw when I get to the apartment. I'm just gonna like trash the hotel in LA, and I'm gonna film Sean coming in and just like raging.
Colton,
situation.
just make sure to like leave your toothbrush, like your deodorant, all your hair products, just out
everywhere.
on the sink in the,
Yeah.
the hotel room.
my
That will
God.
be like the best thing ever.
I'll put like the towels will all
I'll
be
just
thrown
get
everywhere.
the trash can and just like swipe everything into it.
It's like all right, this has to be better.
Yeah.
We can't do this. Nah, this will be great. It'll be a
then
nice
just, like,
short video.
Take out a like a lighter or whatever, and just like throw it in there like a yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
Cleanliness is key.
Yeah, Mike, shit, you want to
Well-
lead us into our actual discussions here?
Sure, why the hell not? Welcome to Almost a Podcast. This is your host, Mike, and I'm joined with the two lads, Colton and Sean.
Hey, we're here.
Was a
Yeah, and total sidetrack from the intro, but or kind of the intro sequence we did there, but we're actually going to be talking about corporate life.
Corporate
So,
life.
Oh, yeah.
An adulting,
Yeah,
true
now
adulting
you remember.
topic right here.
Yeah, so-
I remember this now.
Yeah, so we've all been working in the corporate world for or like job roles. Like
couple
we have
years, yeah.
couple of years. We have like 3, 4, 5 years of experience
Combined a
between
decade of
internships
experience.
and
What's your level of corporateness? Because there's levels,
varying
and
levels.
I feel
Yes.
like Colton, you have a very big corporate, or have been in very, very big corporate. I've definitely been in a big corporate. I'm talking like 5,000 plus people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know the size of the places you've worked, Michael.
Well, MSU was the biggest, so like I was
MSU's that'd be huge.
Yeah.
corporate,
yeah. So that was the most corporate, but I still work for a corporation right now, a bit smaller, about 250 right now employees.
That's getting up there though.
Yeah, and then the smallest I worked for was like a little MSP, so 30 employees. But
Yeah.
we supported multiple small businesses. So,
And I'm working for a
that's a very good
startup
vibe.
right now.
Yeah, you guys
That's
are
like
you
120, 150 people, but then getting a ton, every week.
Yeah, man, I think 5,000 employees actually sounds like small-ish or like medium-sized. Like I'm
That's true.
used to applying to places that are like 50,000 employees or 100,000
Yeah.
employees around the world.
Well, that's like
You're
Fortune
literally
500.
just a cog in the machine there.
Yeah,
Like,
you are
there's
literally.
no-
Yeah, I'm at the point. My corporate culture at my current job is like I can't even wear jeans. Let's start with that. Who doesn't let their people wear jeans?
Even on Fridays. Like,
That's
even
one
on-
of my
casual
biggest
Fridays.
things
Hold on.
with corporate culture that I hate.
Oh yeah, we
Is
just got
dress
jeans.
code.
We just got casual Friday. Just got jeans Friday
Yeah.
like 3 weeks ago.
Yippee.
Man, they are so far in the dark ages there. I cannot believe this. Like, who doesn't have
Yeah.
at least casual Friday, if not always jeans permissible?
What happens if you don't? Like,
No, I don't think
what
anything
happens if you
happens.
just wear jeans?
I mean, the VP walks around, stalks our whole headquarters floor. So, I mean, he'd probably be like, hey, you gotta go change. He's never done that actually to anyone, but I don't know.
this guy, if that's
It's pretty toxic.
this is opening a whole can of worms. I
Oh,
want to
yeah.
have like some sort of. I think it'd be good to have some sort of structure, but it's gonna be hard.
It's easy to
Yeah,
get
I
on
can
tangent with
try to
this kind of
structure it
thing.
a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So mostly I just want to like explore kind of the corporate BS we've had to deal with, right? Because that's kind of, I feel like the norm. And
Yeah.
at least for me, I'm someone who really values like their kind of own agency and own freedom. Hence why I try to tend towards smaller corporations rather than the big
Yeah.
ones.
Yep.
So like a lot of the places I go for usually tend to be more casual or are a bit more free with like to do it, right? Like I'm growing my hair out now and have a beard. No one gives a fuck.
Right. Yeah.
Shit. At my current job, I'm the perfect opposite of you right now, Colton. Right? Is I can walk in with shorts and a t-shirt
Shorts.
on.
Now that's
and
high.
no one bats an eye. I can wear
That's-
tennis shoes.
I need
it's
that
like
here. It's
You,
getting
you
really,
escaped
really
the
hot.
culture. Yeah,
Yeah.
you
The
escaped
only-
like corporate
the only-
culture at
yeah.
that point.
The only thing, I mean, there's still definitely BS I have to deal with. but-
Right. But that's a really good step, at least in the right direction, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
But yeah, no, I love it. It's great because I can just like walk in like just a hoodie. I'll wear a hoodie to work.
A hoodie and shorts.
No bats eye. Well,
So
I'm also
nice.
like in the manufacturing kind of that gen. So usually tends to
I
be,
am too, but
Yeah.
I still
It's-
have to wear like pants
yeah.
and things.
Yeah, they tend to be a little more relaxed. But yeah, whatever. So it's really nice. I think that's it's so silly. Like obviously, if I'm going to a meeting with like a vendor or a client, I'm wearing something nicer.
Mhm.
But for the most part, if it's day to day, I'm just going to the office. Fuck it, I'm not wearing short. I'm not wearing
Yeah.
pants and stuff like that. I'm gonna walk in there with shorts, and I just can't wear flip flops, and I can't wear Daisy Dukes, which I won't be wearing anyway. So
Yeah, for my company, it's like I think it's just the guy that's running the company is really old. Since my company is very corporate right now, but it is kind of a flat operating. Like by flat, I mean it's like there are not many levels above me as an engineer, like a junior or mid-level experienced engineer. I can go right to the VP's office and talk to him. It's not like there's a ton of bureaucracy between us. There's a
That's
few
really cool.
levels between me and like the CEO. But I've been able to meet with the CEO as well to talk about projects personally, even though I am a really young engineer. But that guy, he has like basically all the power. So he's like really old school. So I mean, work from home for my job isn't a thing. The like always have to wear khakis or slacks and a collared shirt, button-up shirt is definitely like the old school nature of him. And he can kind of just do it because he's the one that runs the company. It's
Yeah.
a private company. And he's just old school that way. So he's like, yeah, you got to do it. That's the policy. So
I hate that kind of structure. The power trip people get on.
Yeah.
At the previous company I worked at, the CEO was like this god figure.
I am.
And they would just do things that are just stupid, you know, and because they saw something, they're like, oh, like I saw a documentary one point.
Yeah,
on
I hate
Netflix
this kind of like
about
stuff.
fish.
Yeah,
And he's like, and
oh man,
our place has a really nice it had an all right cafeteria.
Yeah.
Like a French chef would cook things.
Oh.
And blah blah blah.
that's
Jesus,
so nice.
very
That's actually
fancy.
really cool to have
It's
that.
everyone would say it's really good. It wasn't that great. It was like you know,
French food
all right.
sucks, you know. I'm just kidding. French
No,
people.
not the French. Regardless,
Yeah, I get you.
they saw this documentary and then they're like, yeah, we're just not going to serve fish anymore at this cafeteria.
What? That's so lame.
It's-
Come on.
And it's like, why? It's like, oh, because I don't want to, you know, like, because I saw this documentary and I want to be more, you know, fish conscious or something. It's like, what? They would do things like that. That's just ridiculous.
Impulsive.
And
yeah.
at the previous company, all of the VPs were like this, or 95%. There was one or two cool ones, but the rest were just like, if this doesn't happen, you're fired.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
He's
it's
like-
the most impulsive request, and without any.
Yeah.
I guess that's the thing about it the most is like you'll have like a manager or high level someone, and they'll be like, oh,
Yeah.
You gotta comply with this request, which is ridiculous, and they haven't even thought it through. Really, it's just an immediate impromptu decision, and you're like,
Yeah.
dude, you have to realize that there's like a lot of steps here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I'm
And
waiting.
sometimes
you gotta
worse
project
than
plan this.
executives are executive assistants
Yeah, who actually carry out some of their duties. Yeah.
because they get their own power trip, you know, because but
I'm the
they're
assistant.
like usually terrible at what they do.
Yeah.
It feels like.
Well, remember
I'm
the
sure they have
old
their own
adage,
issues, but I've had to deal with a lot of stuff
yeah.
from them. So
just remember the old adage of fail upwards, right? So it's
Yeah.
basically
It's a
people
thing.
get to a point and then they can't actually go any further. So like especially like, middle managers or so they have like the middle people. It's like usually they've gotten to a point. They used to be good at one thing, right? Like say they'd be an excellent senior engineer or something like that. They become a manager, but then they're not the greatest manager, so they just kind of stuck there. But they don't want to go back down the ladder. To
Yeah,
get
so they
another
just-
engineering position. So
Yeah, they just kind
well,
of.
isn't there's this
going.
principle that's like a corporate culture, and I'll just say corporate American culture because I don't know of,
Yeah.
of other.
This is
corporate
very
cultures,
constrained
but
to America.
there's this principle that whoever is the most mediocre at their job will be the one getting promoted,
correct.
you know.
Yeah.
And those that are excelling usually will go down.
Yeah. Well, they stay
Not-
or
not-
they
they
stay
don't
in
go
their
down.
position because they're so good
Yeah.
at it. There's no reason to promote him. He's the best
or
one
that,
on the
but
floor.
it's like,
yeah.
and
Basically-
either for office politics, a mediocre person would get promoted,
Yeah.
Yeah.
or it's just like they're the ones that are replaceable, so they can move into this other position. It's like so stupid.
Do you think there comes a point in time where you have to accept that office politics are a thing and respect
Yeah.
them to move up? I feel like there are a few companies out there where
I think you have to.
yeah, if you're in a big
Well,
corporation,
you have to learn how to navigate it.
yeah, if you're a big corporation and you have to get through the bureaucracy, I think you're forced to play into the politics.
Yeah. I
Maybe
think
if
the
you're in
only
a
place that-
small company, you would
Yeah,
be
startup level,
it'd be okay.
I think.
Or
yeah,
even like
I
a
think startup level-
medium-sized level, if you prove your worth and there doesn't need to be drama, you're good. But man, Fortune 500 companies for the U.S. at least, I mean,
Oh, here it is.
It's all part of it. It's like part of the
It's
job.
the Peter principle.
The Peter Principle. Why is it
Peter
called the
principle is an observation that the tendency in most organizational hierarchies, such as that of a corporation, is for every employee to rise in the hierarchy through promotion until they reach a level of respective incompetence. In other words, a front
Failing
office
upwards.
secretary who is quite good at her job may thus be promoted to executive assistant to the CEO, for which she is not trained or prepared for, meaning that she would be more productive for the company and likely herself if she had not been promoted.
But is this like an inherent flaw? Is that what it's kind of just trying to say in our
Yeah,
corporate
it's a
America?
paradoxical idea that competent employees will continue to be promoted, but at some point will be promoted into positions for which they are incompetent.
Yeah, yeah.
And then they will remain in those positions because of the fact they do not demonstrate any further competence
And they
that would
can't
get
get
them
promoted
recognized for
again.
additional
Yeah.
promotion.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you get to the point where you're like mid at your job, and then you
Yeah, so
So
stay
if you
there.
can't make a lateral movement, then it's like it's
yeah.
That's why I love what you're talking about with horizontal companies, right? Because that tends to be an area where you don't have as many middle managers, therefore you don't have to deal with as much BS from
That's politics.
top down, and you don't have to deal with as many politics. I mean, you still have to deal with office politics. That's a whole nother separate thing, which we can get into. But I fucking hate that. So
I think what's crazy is like how things are shifting now, in terms of like how office politics were and now are, or just work culture in general. And it's kind of weird, honestly. I mean, the whole thing is weird, but before, and when I say before, I'm thinking like before the 2000s, let's say.
Yeah.
It's like if the thinking was you get a job and then you stay at that job forever essentially. And you try your hardest to get promoted and
stay in the company.
Go up.
Yeah.
And now it's almost the exact opposite. Where it's like
jump
you
and get promoted.
Get a job to get a job, and then if you want to move up or get promoted, you go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of
corporate
the
loyalty
only way to
and
think
corporation
now.
loyalty has fallen out the window.
It's like dead. Yeah, I would say it's
Yeah.
like dead now for the
And I would
millennial
say that's
generation
good
and
because
yeah.
for, as long as that's been a thing, the company doesn't care about you.
lower. Yeah.
Yeah.
There are exceptions to that. There are companies that are very good with their employees, unicorns, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, it's like the company doesn't care at all what happens to you.
Yeah. I mean,
Especially the bigger the company, the less the individual matters.
yeah, I wonder what changed, because you're right, Sean. I know, like, our parents, I know a lot of people like my parents' age that were like company loyalty was actually a thing. I don't hear that at all with the current generation, at least the people I work with. It's not a thing. You move on if you need to spread your wings, whatever. But I wonder why, like, is there some sort of statistic, some sort of trend of personalities of workers, maybe more like independence from people that want to do more things. The internet may be exposed to more stuff, so people are more likely to jump. So now that became a dead
it's a lot
ideology.
easier too.
It is.
Because think about Indeed or
easier.
Monster or
Yeah,
anything
yeah.
like that. You have all these job sites. You literally just go, here's the job I want, run through my list of applications.
Yeah, and you're-
then,
I mean,
boom,
part of it
done.
before was maybe you didn't have as many options, and you're like, well, this is the
or you're
best
stuck
thing
in the
around.
same area.
You didn't even know what you were missing either. You might be in a sucky work culture, and you might not even know. You think it's the norm everywhere. So
This is what's weird to me, because my mom has worked the same job for like 20, 25 years. Let's say.
Okay.
And then she decided to get a different job, and it was really hard for her, because she's like,
it's your one thing you know.
she felt like she was betraying everybody. And I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
no, you're not. Look out for number one, yourself. Like,
Yeah.
I guess in her opinion, she's looking out for her family and everybody else.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of uncertainty with a new job, especially if you've been in a job for as long as that.
Yeah.
And, she moved to a smaller company, which I guess, in a lot of people's minds, smaller is less stable.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And, but it's this whole thing. And it was really tough for her. And I think she's enjoying it a lot now. But then you take a look at me, and I've had 3 jobs in 3 years.
John, you're like, I do not care. I will bounce.
all
if I
of
need
my
to,
own
or if
volition,
I
and
want
all
to.
trying to move upwards. So it's
Yeah.
like,
Well, that's also the
The-
IT mindset, I think, because
that is
IT
true. That is
is
true.
very. I think it's the kind of the predominant field where it's you basically, if you want to get a new job, you don't apply inside. You just go, all right, I want to move to the next section, right? Keep moving on.
well, it's also hard because IT in general in most companies is quite small. So there's
small, and usually you get stuck with like the same thing, like you're in programming or something like that. Whereas depending on what you do, or it's the opposite, you wear too many hats. And
I can't imagine having the same job for 20 years.
I can't
that-
either.
that was my mom.
And at this point in my life, it's completely impossible for me to think of that. I'm like, I can't imagine picking a company and being like, yes,
This is
I
the
see
one.
myself here in 20 years, you know,
Yeah,
or
no
10
way.
or 5
Yeah.
Or 5,
anything,
yeah.
you know.
I can't think that far
My
ahead.
mom got had 30 years at where
Yeah.
until she finally retired.
It's wild, man.
Which is just insane. And I was like, well, and when she was talking about it, she had the same kind of thoughts about that your mom had, right? It's like at that point, her team, right, became her family.
Yeah, your friends.
yeah, I can see that too.
Yeah, and like she didn't
My
have
mom
too many
had the
friends
similar
outside of
thing.
work.
Yeah.
So it's almost like it was. Yeah, it really.
Yeah.
You get stuck in those.
My mom did
relationships.
have friends outside of work, so that may have actually been a big help for her because
making
work
that
is
leap.
not her life. you
Yes.
know?
Yeah.
Right.
It's a big part of her life.
She enjoys it,
but it's not everything. So there is that, which is probably very good. And I always try and maintain a very strict work and not work. You know, it's I think it's very important for me to do that.
Yeah.
I do
it's
a hybrid.
hybrid. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know this. I like make friends with my coworkers, stuff like that, and we'll go out for drinks and have fun and stuff like that. But there's always this like level of don't get too
I meant,
intimate.
like,
don't get
Working.
like
Like I'll hang out
yeah.
with people, sure, if they want to, but I'm not going to work outside of work or think of work outside of work.
Yeah,
very true.
yeah.
Yeah, very 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 true. Yeah, fuck that.
Is there? So, yeah, because okay. So for those listening, I recently am transferring jobs. Have transferred jobs. Basically, I've signed the dotted line. And one of the big considerations between the two jobs that I was working at, one would provide a really really good work-life balance, but the work wasn't as cool, maybe quote unquote. The other one was a lot more. It was still decent work-life balance, but it was gonna definitely be more of a hindrance on my personal life. I was going to be working more than that 40 hours a week. Do you guys think that there's a job out there that you would work like a lot? Like, would you work those like 50-hour weeks consistently? Is there something that you think that would like make you want to do that?
I don't think I'd ever want to do it consistently. However, well, if it was my business,
Yeah, well,
Sure.
I'm there.
that's kind of the only instance.
If it's my
Yeah.
business,
Or
yep.
if I was, I don't want to do consistent 50s either. I mean, I would do 50 hours a week if needed. However, I also want to be compensated for that. Like,
Yeah.
if I'm only being paid, X amount of dollars to that like, everyone has their own internal value of how much their time is worth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm not being paid the value of my time, then I don't want to put in more than the bare minimum.
You need like the 25%
that sounds
extra.
bad, but like the bare minimum nowadays is actually quite a lot. 40 hours a week, that's a lot of time.
yeah, there's
And
yeah,
most of the time they require more than that.
yeah, I love,
And
especially in America.
Also, for clarification, we are all salaried right now, correct?
Yes, I'm
Yes,
salaried. My previous job I was not
I am
salaried. I was
salaried, yeah.
hourly, but
We're
I'm
all salaried
salaried
right now.
Yeah, I feel like
And-
if anyone here is listening outside of the U.S., that's a completely different. That's very foreign to them, right? I'm not 100% knowledgeable
Is
of other
salary
markets.
not a thing?
Well, I meant
Or
like the
hourly, not?
40 hours a week. I think there's a lot of places
Oh.
if you work in the UK or in Europe,
It's 35.
it's like 35, and maybe you're not.
I know Germany's like 35, I think.
Yeah, it's a lot more lax, and more PTOs there too. That's like a whole different subject, but
Yeah,
it's like a much more lax working culture, whereas America is kind of up there with
Well,
the
I
stress.
feel like-
Imagine the only
stuff.
thing different would be Japan, where it's like
Well,
you work
that's-
more and that's default.
That's like that's one of the countries where it would be more crazy than the U.S. Yeah.
And it's like the opposite to what we're talking about, where like Japan still has the culture of you work for the company
for that
your
company.
entire life.
Yeah.
But they also have like lifetime guarantee contracts essentially, right? Which is the US doesn't, which is also weird because like, I mean, yes, I think this actually, so going back to
That's a
what
dumb
we're talking
idea,
about,
though.
I think it all changed, like the whole like working, for the company after 2008 when the financial system crashed and everyone lost.
It's like you're saying when the iPhone released.
Yeah.
when Steve Jobs revealed the iPhone, everything changed.
No, but after 2008, you had a lot of like pension systems just fucking die, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
people lost so much in their retirement savings. So I think that's basically what it was at. It's like, all right, I want to make more money now by jumping between multiple companies rather than making slightly less, but relying on like a stable
Yeah.
pension.
I mean, we're gonna have that again pretty soon.
It's
you know?
coming, boys.
Based on
hopefully,
what it is right now.
Hopefully, with me not transitioning to my new job, just gets to be immediately laid off.
Yeah. I know. Hey, it's a good time to buy.
Yeah,
So.
it's just buy those stocks. This is not
Always
financial
good time.
advice.
But
by
this
the
is
way.
not. Yeah, this is not financial advice.
Not a financial advice.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but back to the corporate thing. Yeah. It's a weird culture, and I definitely think other countries are different. Well, also, I don't know about you, but I think a lot of times U.S. there's definitely like a decent percent of the work time dedicated to like essentially interpersonal relationships. Like I'd say at least spend at least 4 to 5 hours a week just dedicated on, hey, I'm like interacting with team members and like just on like a more personal level, like
Really?
communicating or with like managers of other organizations rather than like 100%
Communicating for work or for
think it's,
like
like,
just leisure.
Just shooting the shit, I think, right?
shooting the shit,
Yeah.
leisure, but more just like to build the rapport, right? So that way when stuff happens or I need someone's help, I'm gonna
Yeah,
get
you know
that
who
rather
to
than
ask.
being a nobody coming in.
Yeah.
I'd say I get a
Definitely depends.
I feel that's actually pretty. Maybe Colton can provide an insight on this because I think in IT that's pretty common to just happen.
Mhm.
Because especially if you're like in a more front-facing part of IT, you just talk to people all the time. You know,
which is funny
so
because IT is all
naturally I just
introverts.
know everybody in the company. you know?
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
same. Yeah,
But I don't know how like Colton's perspective on that because you're not in a department where you talk to everybody else, or maybe you are. I
Yeah,
don't know.
it depends. Cause my current job, it's definitely acceptable. Like we shoot the shit a lot. People are not. It depends on like if the company. Yeah, let's say if you worked for SpaceX, I could see that not being a thing. Seeing as everyone is very very smart, but they're not there to like talk to people. They're not there. They're there to do the work and to make something
Yeah.
fly.
They're there to work to death, and that's
Yeah, yeah, they're there to work. They're there to work their 80-hour weeks and then fall over dead. But yeah, like I think most companies, even in engineering, very similar. Like you can shoot the shit. There's a lot of companies where you could shoot the shit for like 10 to 15 hours a week. I almost guarantee it, and you could probably still get away with it. I wouldn't want a job like that because that probably means I don't like what I'm doing very much.
dude, I get so bored.
Yeah,
Like,
but
I like talking with people, but like there's a point where I just be like, all right, I
gotta get
don't
back
feel
to
like I'm
work.
accomplishing anything. Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah, it's so annoying. I feel like I don't, if it's not related to work, I don't talk too much. And I don't know why that is. Maybe it's just me being like antisocial.
I don't know. It may be because of your mindset. Because
Yeah.
you're talking where you have a very like you essentially when you're outside of work is gone. It's like I feel that because I'm the same way. When I'm outside of work, I don't think about work at all, right? But when I'm at work, I usually talk unless I'm like shooting the shit with someone and I switch to that like socializing mode. I'm thinking 100% about work. I'm talking about people about work and like organizing things and like logistics, right? And it's all like work mode. But then once I'm outside of it, it switches to fuck work and we're just gonna hang out and have fun.
Yeah, maybe that's it. I'm like, I'm at work to work.
yeah. You do your job.
Yeah.
I just want to get that done so I can leave and not be at work, you know, like,
Yeah.
I guess. But I do enjoy what I do. Not all the time, but a lot of the
Majority.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's good to have. Yeah, I don't know. Do you guys have like I don't know, like coworkers, okay?
Yeah.
So, do you have the coworker that you just don't like to be around?
Yeah, that's definitely a thing. I have a lot of coworkers.
Not really.
There's a lot of coworkers
Yeah?
that. Okay, you go.
I
Right.
have
Or maybe
I have
not
some-
necessarily in your department, but in other departments. Like, and you get that a lot in IT, being like, "There's this problem user, sure," but like I've sat in areas where it's like you can just overhear somebody else talking. I'm like, I just don't want to hear your voice at all right now.
Like, get out of here. Go to the
Yeah.
hallway.
Everything they're saying is just stop. I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
agree with any of it, and I'm not going to jump into the conversation, but you can still hear
Yeah.
it. It's
Wait, is it like-
especially with the open work environment nowadays?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it like from a technical or political or like both? Like, are they just?
We're just gossip.
Are they talking about servers
Just-
and you're like,
just
this
like,
guy's wrong?
Just like their life events. I'm like, I don't
You don't care.
I don't hear about-
or
I don't
like,
want to hear
or,
about your
or their
kid.
life experiences. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't agree with this.
It's
at
like
all.
the mom on
Their
you know-
opinions, you know. Like,
yeah, it's like the
Yeah.
mom on Facebook like posting like pictures of her kid every day. And it's like I don't need to see your kid all the time.
yeah. I don't know. I don't want or need to know anything about
man.
you.
I mean, there are definitely
Yeah.
there are definitely some old farts that I sit near. I mean, there's this guy. I'll just call him Bob. He came over. He's an old guy. He's basically on his phone. We've seen him fall asleep in his chair at work. We're in an open work environment, by the way, too. So like cubicles without the walls in lines, so you can get up, stand up, and see someone like 10 rows down. So like you can
that's
see
the
him.
worst.
It's
That is
okay.
the worst, yeah.
Good and bad for that, but we'll get to that later, maybe. But man, this guy, I remember he would we'd get into conversations with him. When I was new to a certain spot of the team, I was working on a project, and he was walking around. I was chatting with him, and he's like, "Yeah, I mean, I don't talk to those people over there. Those are all the liberals." And I'm like, "Oh my god, dude!" Like, and he's just yelling that out. He's just yelling that shit out. He was telling people a guy got engaged, and he's like, we were talking all together, and this guy Bob was just like, you make sure you make that engagement a long period of time, because that's when the women are most behaved. You just keep them there. And this guy says that every day to someone. It's just something crazy.
I feel like that's an HR complaint at this point.
I mean,
Yeah.
I guess people give him a pass because he's like an old dude, even though it probably shouldn't.
You shouldn't give a pass for that, though. Like,
he should. But yeah, he's kind of funny. He's just so out there and wrong about a lot of different things he says.
Yeah.
We just kind of laugh at him, as long as he's not harassing anyone, I guess. So
there's this occasionally, like, you know how there's an expected procedure, I guess, in social situations.
yeah.
Like, or like there's all these expectations, you know, or when you interact with somebody new.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Or when
Like
you
the
just
small
interact with
talk
somebody.
etiquette.
Small talk etiquette,
Yeah.
personal space, like all these things
Personal
revolving
space.
around social.
I imagine Sean meeting someone
And-
the first time. They're just like, hello, Sean.
Well, we had like a new hire who, and right now most people need to see me when they get hired because I get them set up with stuff. You know?
Yeah.
And I'm kind of the only person that does that. So there's this guy, older guy. I couldn't tell who he is. Large, like
big
glasses,
Glasses, yeah.
like bad eyesight glasses, you know.
Mhm.
And it's just one of those people that approach you and start talking to you, and I'm immediately off put. You know,
You get like the chill
Like-
down your spine and like hair stand up.
like they walked up too close, like, "Hey," and,
Rip it, headphone users.
they like snuck around the corner, like the best way to describe it, of like my cube. They snuck it and they go, "Hey, buddy," and I'm like, "Oh no."
God.
Oh, he called you buddy too, dude. If you want to piss me off, just call me buddy.
I agree. This is
I'm
I'm
like,
not your
I'm
buddy,
not gonna help you
pal.
at
This is a
all.
side topic,
Exactly.
but I hate being called buddy unless it's my dad.
I
My
hate
dad
it
can
too.
call me buddy if he wants, but that's the
Nope,
only person.
no one-
allowed.
no one can.
I don't know. I still look young, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. As
I mean, you
far
are
as,
young.
like,
Yeah.
and I am young, so like, but that's not professional,
Is
you
it?
know.
Yeah.
Like I'm not a buddy, dude. You
I'm
know,
not your buddy, and I don't want to
professional.
be.
So he
Yeah,
did that, and I was
exactly.
like shocked for a second, and I was like,
You're just like, hold on, let me collect myself.
I did, and I don't know if you guys have ever noticed me, but like if I'm dealing with somebody that I just don't want to be dealing with, very closed off, you know.
Yep. Yeah.
And I try and keep, and even in a work environment, like I'm trying to be professional, but it's just like I want to finish this as quickly as possible, you know.
Yeah.
Like, hey, what do you need? You know, da 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 da, and like, and he's just going on over these other things, and he's like, oh yeah, technology, it's crazy, right? But saying it in this really weird way.
Mm-hmm.
And he did this like 3 times, like in his first week,
Oh, really? Okay.
and then I haven't seen him since. I know he still works there, but he's like doing his job elsewhere. I
Yeah.
don't know what kind of job he could do. He seems kind of, you know, bit hard to teach, I would think. And like occasionally you'll get interactions like that. Most
Yeah.
people are great, you know,
Right.
especially at my new job. There's a lot of like really capable, really smart, and just like friendly people.
Yeah. Yeah.
You definitely have your bad eggs though.
Yeah. Sometimes.
Same.
Oh, go ahead, Mike.
I can't
Go.
complain of anyone on my team. Like
That's
I really
good.
like working with all of them.
That's really good. Yeah.
But yeah, no, definitely for me, it's
Blink
the...
if you need help.
right, yeah. There's not a gun pointed at my head. No, frankly though, they're great. They're super chill. Like
That's cool.
normally, I'm a pretty chill person, and so when I have to like, and usually I don't get along with hyper type A people.
Yeah. Yep. That's what I was going
And
to say.
so, yeah, and so like everyone like I'm in where I'm now, that just isn't a type where I'm at now.
That's good.
So it's just like, oh, cool. I don't have to worry too much about it. If anything, I'm the most type A person there, the most energetic.
Okay.
So it's a weird dichotomy, because normally I'm the relaxed, like, hey, it'll get done when it gets done, like this is, I'm more like, all right, we need to get XYZ logistics, plan this stuff out, stuff like that. So
well, you do need that person at some point. Like,
yeah,
right. Yeah.
If no one's
I usually fill that role when no one else is filling that role. So but yeah, one thing, but one thing that for me though is just dealing with like the gossip. Like there's a couple we're talking about bad eggs, right? And it's just all about gossip. I'm like, dude, I don't need to give a fuck about anyone else's life. I'm just here to do a job. Why do you need to, like, I don't want to hear about anyone's like gossip stuff. I don't want anyone to gossip about me. Just fucking just do your shit.
Yeah. I'm lucky.
And that's where office politics just like falls out of the window for me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm lucky. I don't hear a lot of gossip in my current office. I don't think I'll hear a lot of gossip in my new office. I don't know if that's an engineering thing. A lot of guys and gals are just not, they don't really care about drama and gossip and stuff. But
they're thing oriented. They're not.
Yeah,
They don't even give a fuck.
I've heard stories in the finance industry where like things get real nutty real fast, but I would think IT would be kind of okay with gossip too. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, IT is funny because you kind of just hear gossip when you're in IT because of how much we get around to all the different departments.
True. Yeah, you see everyone. And
everyone just talks to you when you're helping them.
Yeah,
and it's like,
this
is a...
Yeah, the amount of times I don't get impromptu therapist when I was working help desk. Oh gosh.
I don't get that much at my current company, mainly because it's smaller and everyone kind of just knows what's going on. But my previous company, because it's so big, you just like, it's inevitable. And being in IT, you hear all that. The stuff we in IT were mainly concerned about were like organizational level gossip. Like, like, oh, this VP is leaving, like, whoa.
Uh-oh. Yeah, what shit went down?
I heard this, and it's like, oh, like, it's
who's embezzling?
Who's embezzling? Hey, wait. So you guys have both worked help desk jobs, right? Before?
I've never worked true help desk. I've worked like field.
Okay.
So,
have you guys?
Like when I was at MSU, I was it's called tier 2 in IT.
I gotcha. Have you guys ever gotten like salty remarks like, "Hey, this program isn't opening. I got this error. Fix it." Or like something really salty.
Oh, all the time.
All the time.
Really? Okay. Yeah. I didn't know if that was like
that's
the norm.
The absolute norm.
They're like, "Hey, like this is broken. Fix it," and they like give no context, and you're like, "Can you send me a screenshot of your error?"
Okay, so at my previous company, it was 3 floors, right? The third floor was where all the execs worked, right?
Yeah.
Smaller. And like an executive assistant would call and be like, "Hey, so-and-so's computer isn't connected to the internet." And it's like, "Okay, be right there." There's no trying to troubleshoot anyway. You just go up and try and fix it with zero information. I don't know what kind of state they're in. Usually I'm asked like, "Okay, are they free right now?" Oh no, we're in a meeting. Like, gosh darn it! Like,
yeah,
come on. I remembered one story that was so annoying that we had this several buildings, right? In one of the buildings, there's a bunch of printers. Now, for some reasons, one of the departments decided we're just going to print hundreds and hundreds of pamphlets.
Nice.
For this supremely important thing, event that's going on. So the printer ran out of toner.
Okay. Yeah.
And so the person in that department CC'd this or sent a help desk ticket. It's like, "Hey, we need more toner." I'm like, "Okay, cool." I order more toner, right?
Yeah.
It's not like we stock all the toner for all the printers.
Right.
So like I order toner, and then like the next day, and it's usually like like less than a week toner usually arrives in.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have like a printer vendor then?
Yeah. Everything's on contract, so like you just say you need this, and they send it.
Right.
And this is before a lot of the shortages, so it was not really an issue.
Yeah. Just get it.
But sometimes they would get it a little delayed. So the next day, the department's like, "Hey, the things that have toner," and I'm like, "Yeah, I know.
I ordered
sent
some.
an order in."
Yeah.
It usually takes about 2 to 3 days to get here. Let's say 3 to 4 or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, we really need this toner," and then something happened where like they said they complained upwards, you know.
Yeah.
So then one of like the executive assistants like, oh, so and so, like the person they report to, needs us for an event. I'm like,
I
can't do
anything.
much more than what I already did.
Yeah, like I already ordered it.
And like it's so weird. And I ordered just a ton of toner. I'm like, oh, whatever, sure,
Yeah.
get a bunch. And then they're like, I hate the passive aggressive remarks that
Yeah.
people will do.
Yeah, I
Because
imagine that's
this
gotta be
executive assistant was
prominent.
like, okay, how can we make sure this doesn't happen again? You know, like,
Like-
being out of toner. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah,
All right, I'll
no.
just
What
order
it was
it.
you say
Uh,
make sure to order it before the early. Make sure to print everything early before the event, just in case you do run out of toner, right?
Well,
But that's
I
why you
said
push it on
something-
them.
No, they're like
yeah,
stock
and
up
I did.
$1,000.
I
of
responded
toner.
along the lines of like, make sure to let us know beforehand if toner is getting low, as opposed to when it actually is out, something like that. And it's like, I hate
Yeah.
that stuff. It's that, and that also gets the politics in there because like people are now
Now people
CCing
don't
their-
like
exactly the fucking CC.
Now
It's
they're
like, oh, they
CC
CC
my VP,
They see,
bruh.
yeah, they CC their manager. They CC your manager. Fortunately, my
Yeah.
manager is pretty cool. I've got a lot of goodwill with him. So like, if something like that happens, I'm like, dude, it's on them.
Yeah.
It's like
I've
we're doing what we
definitely
can.
I've definitely been in conversations where it's like, this is happening, and then the director CC'd, the vice president CC'd, and it's like, oh, this is
Yeah,
going
right.
crazy.
That
You're
is
like-
pretty heavy.
yeah, over something like very minor.
Yeah.
I was expecting
yes.
them to
So
like
dumb.
make you go buy. I was expecting them to be like, "Hey, Sean, can you just go to like Walmart and get that toner like right now? We need it." And that would have been
Yeah.
sucky.
Well, I mean,
that would have
when-
been stupid.
At a certain point, these printers, it's just like you can't do that. You have to order it from the vendor who provides it because
Yeah,
they're massive. I mean, toner is like huge. You know, I'm holding like
It's a big
like
box.
3 feet
Yeah,
long
and
tube.
half the
Generally,
time-
it's like
yeah, and half the time they have to actually send a tech out because like for the huge document centers, you have to actually have like a specialist install it.
Really?
It's so fucking
What?
huge.
That sounds like way too much work. You should just.
you want to know something crazy? The toner, right, and everything nowadays in terms of all printers, even if it's a general consumer one,
Yeah.
they all have little chips on the cartridges so the printer
Mm-hmm.
can read it as valid. You know, it's like, oh, this is legit toner.
You can get unlegit
I
toner.
got a bunch of toners for printers at my new work, and it said like, oh, this toner isn't valid. I'm like, what are you talking about? I called
It's
our
toner.
vendor. I'm like, hey, what's going on? They said, oh yeah, because of the chip shortage, we're not sending the chips with the toners.
Oh my god,
Like,
that's
what
so.
kind of
What are you doing?
stupid like
I can't use
hack
it.
is this? I mean, like, come on,
Yeah,
it's
What?
worthless anyways.
Yeah. That's so weird. Like, so you just couldn't use it, or do you have to like program?
We could
something?
use it. Is we just get a message every time that says,
yeah.
oh, this isn't valid.
It's not a
Oh.
huge thing.
Okay.
It's not huge,
it's
but
just-
it's so dumb.
I thought
it
you
shows
just
how
couldn't use
pointless
it.
that system is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just a money grab.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Well, because they make more money off the toner than they do the printer.
In the long run, yeah. Lifetime of the printer.
I feel.
I had a printer like that was like under the receptionist desks that has never been replaced, and its statistics said it had printed over 1 million pieces of
oh
paper.
my god.
And it's probably
All
one of those like
trees.
tiny little single slot ones that just like they can only print. That's the only thing.
Yeah,
you can
only
do,
black
right?
and white. It's like
Oh yeah.
it was still it was ink, you know, it was toner, but like even still, it's crazy that it exists so long.
It's wild.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm like almost deaf to office politics now that I hear you guys talk about it. Like you guys are seeing like CCing this guy, then you CC that guy. I don't know if I'm like taking the positive out of this, but there's a lot of times where I'm just like, well, I've emailed someone and then they've emailed me back with like 4 different people CC'd that I didn't think was relevant, and I'm like, oh, maybe they asked to be included on this email. But now I'm wondering if they were actually like
You're
salty.
such an optimist.
Maybe I
No,
think
they were
about
salty.
something.
The only reason, so especially, okay, here's the thing is, so if they CC their manager, you know, it's like, okay, there's going to be bullshit involved. For me, I don't know what it is. Currently, it happens all the time in my current company culture. I'm like, fuck it. But I'm like, whatever. I do a great job. So like, and half the time I know their manager anyway. So
Yeah,
that's
the thing in IT is you'll generally know, like if they CC that, you could out political somebody.
Yeah, my politics are greater
because
than yours.
it's like they CC their manager, and you're like, well, let me just CC your director.
yeah,
I know your director.
We're all
Idiot.
CC the CEO because
Oh my
because he and I are
God.
cool. So it's
Do you
like
actually do that? Can you do that?
I've never had to see CC the.
I would.
the
I have
CEO.
never been able to CC the CEO in my jobs, but I can CC VPs if I needed to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, my current CEO actually is pretty cool, and so we're like, what's up?
God, if I CC'd
But-
the CEO, they'd be like, "We need to remove you from the office now.
Who is this
Who
person?
is this man?
Yeah.
Who is this
Fire
like
them.
plebeian?"
See, that's why you gotta like work for a smaller company a little bit more, yeah, because they're usually more like down to earth and chill,
Yeah.
versus like, yeah,
That is something I'm
But,
really looking forward to. My new company. It's
Yeah.
much smaller. So
It is.
Yeah.
It is interesting though, because like starting a new job, there's, and I guess this is the case with starting anything new, but there's always a period of learning and feeling things out.
oh
You
yeah,
know.
yeah, feeling out.
And I'm definitely
Different things.
very close isn't the right word, but like I don't expand
You
for
don't-
a month or two.
Yeah.
It's,
Okay.
I'm like I
Stick
just
in your
observe.
spot.
I'm like, okay, how
Yeah.
is
Yep.
this working? Who
observe
does
and
what?
report, observe and
Mhm.
report. Yep.
And then eventually I can start reaching out and be like, oh, okay, I'm working. It took about like 2-3 months in my current job.
Yeah.
And then after that, I feel like comfortable to do kind of anything because I know who to talk to get something done, or I know who to talk to back me up, or
Mhm.
you know, vice versa.
Yeah, and you get tight with them. Like that's why I say like you put 5 hours, at least 5 hours a week, just like in building rapport, right? Like, most recently I met one of like the manufacturing leads, like the managers of like the manufacturing plant we have,
Mhm.
and she's super cool, and we like totally hit it off like first time meet, right? And like, all right, cool, and now like at least like for an hour a week or something like that, we'll just like
Yeah.
chat it up, talk, shoot the shit. I see what problems are going on and stuff like that, go through that. But then you're like, all right, cool. So if anything happens, I've got a lot of one, just a cool person in general, but two, also I've got a lot of like leeway and grace with them, so that way I don't have to, if shit hits the fan, don't have someone like, trying to stab me in the back.
Yeah.
while also trying to solve the problem.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that's the worst thing in IT is like you'll run into someone it's like, oh, right, you're trying to actually fix the problem, but they're continually shanking you in the ribs.
Right. Yeah.
when while trying to solve the problem. So it's like, oh, great. It makes you feel great, really, when that
Yeah.
happens. But I mean, I can say the same thing probably for engineers, right? Because you guys also fix problems, but
Mhm.
I don't know. I guess it sounds like you Colton get pretty insulated from office politics,
I think I'm pretty
or you just don't
insulated.
give a fuck.
I honestly, I'm wondering. I try to be a pretty positive person. I think overall, and I think
Mhm.
I don't usually get involved with office politics if I'm given the option to. I mean, there's like, in my office, there's like always like, oh, this person's like, they're being mean, they're not approving this because of this, they're so dumb. But I feel like that's very shallow. Like that's just someone that's like a little bit
Yeah.
more uptight, and it's not that juicy. It's not that tea. It's not the Kermit drinking the tea, true tea. But I mean, like,
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like if there's anything I've seen or heard of that
Yeah.
was actually
Well,
really
are-
juicy politics.
Yeah,
that
are the office
influenced-
politics you have to deal with more like, what you're talking about, where you have to like very strict dress code, you got to follow the rules, and if you break the rules, you get like called out / like, people get on your case about stuff, or like start eyeing you weird.
Yeah, I feel like
Right, 'cause
most of it's like
I've been at places like that.
yeah. I mean, most people hate the dress code thing. Most people hate it. They're like, dude, this is
Yeah.
so dumb. Everyone agrees
That's
that it's
one of the
dumb.
weirdest things. It's one of the universally like disliked things, yet everyone still does it.
The dress code.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't
get it.
know. I don't know.
Yeah, especially for someone like I'd get it for a manager or someone who works in like sales, where they have to actually work
Yeah,
with clients.
be with
a lot.
clients. Yeah,
But someone who's on the back end, mostly just talking on the phone, or in your job, like sitting on the computer.
Sitting on the
like,
computer, yeah.
I'm assuming you're doing a lot of CAD, right? It's like
yeah, a lot of just design, computer work,
design, yeah. Or you're in
I can
meetings
understand,
within the
like,
team. Fuck it.
A limit. Like, okay, no graphic tees. That's not hard. you know?
Sure, yeah, and
Yeah.
that's kind of understandable. You might get some sussy graphic tees maybe per policy, so
Yeah.
just ban
Like,
everything.
Just
Yeah.
a blank T-shirt. Like,
Some nice short
honestly,
shorts.
I would totally take just like a polo or whatever, if I could wear shorts. Like, I don't
Oh,
mind.
absolutely.
Mhm.
Especially just during the summer. I mean, it's gonna suck for me.
Well, you have air conditioning though,
honest.
right? You're fine. Like in the building's not too
I
bad
have
usually.
to walk between buildings so
Oh,
often,
that would suck.
and the manufacturing building is not air conditioned.
Oh,
it's
man.
producing heat.
That sucks.
because
That's
of
actually
the,
shitty.
the what they're making.
Mm.
So
Oh fuck.
That sucks
I
a
didn't realize
lot.
that.
Man,
Yeah.
I'm so privileged. All my manufacturing facilities are like fully air conditioned.
Yeah,
they're
same.
very temperature controlled. But that is the thing.
Yeah.
A lot
I mean,
of places
there
don't
might be
have
a
it.
limit, like an upper limit. Like they wouldn't let it get to 150, let's say.
I mean,
but
that's pretty
I don't know
hot.
what that is.
Yeah,
Yeah, it has never reached that upper limit.
yeah.
It's also the fact that like the building is still being built, you know, so we might have AC, but it's not on yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just have the fans going.
Yep. And you got like run lines or something, and it's like, oh god damn it, it's
I don't know.
120 in here, and I'm dripping sweat.
Yeah.
It's maybe they will have it, which I'd be really appreciative, but they don't right now. It's gonna suck.
The biggest office politics for me are like people don't like the senior VP because he doesn't allow work from home. So a lot of people are quitting because they can't work from home and they can't get a job that has work
Yeah.
from home. But that's like so tame in my opinion. It's like they don't. This is like leaving a company unless you get.
But
what
that's
you
like
want.
that's like generalized, right? Like office politics. Like,
Yeah.
And then you've also got like the little niche stuff, right? Like individuals, like the gossip and like stuff like
Yeah.
that too, right? No, but I mean that's a legit reason because essentially here's a rule in place. This is our policy, and if
Yeah.
you want to work from home, I guess you have to work for another company.
I've rarely had the issue where like someone's headed out for you. you
Yeah,
know?
oh, yeah.
And I don't think I've ever had that.
I've never had that.
In terms of people coming at me.
Yeah.
But
had that.
that would definitely be a political thing.
I feel like you could put a stop to that pretty fast though. If someone actually has it out for you, you document that, you go to their manager and your manager, and then maybe
Yeah.
you just escalate the politics at that point. But
Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like you can't be too toxic. Like just toxic work culture. Like that isn't a thing I've really been a part of personally. Maybe it's a thing in different industries. I can definitely see like freaking Wolf on Wall Street. That's got to have some like if you're in that scenario, you got to be having
Yeah.
some crazy politics.
and
Things
it's the,
that
and it's the type too, right?
Yeah.
Like the hyper competitive,
like
right? Is you wanna-
competitiveness, like you're getting people are just doing drugs. I don't know. I've never gotten to that thing where it's like, yeah, the manager's sleeping with the assistant, so she got a promotion, and then I didn't get the promotion even though I've been working
Yeah,
here
that's
twice
great.
as long.
That'd be crazy.
That's like I don't know if I want to even be in that environment. Like while it would be interesting tea, it's like no, let's not.
Yep. Glad you have never had to deal with that.
Have you had to deal with that, Mike?
I will neither confirm nor deny that.
Gosh.
But yeah, no, I have dealt with some. There's some been interesting stories that you hear from the grapevine / actually have to, deal with. But yeah. Actually, I wish work from home was a thing because I feel like when I'm working from home, office politics are so much simpler. Because the only
Just
politics
ignore
you have to deal with are the fucking CC manager stuff.
Yeah.
Because that's the email. But you don't have to deal with like the internal stuff. You're not in the office, so you don't have to deal with all that stuff. Or like the
Yeah.
water cooler, or like,
Water cooler talk. Yeah.
who doesn't like wash out the coffee machine. Like I remember that was
Yeah,
a
yeah.
huge
That's-
deal.
that's a
When I was
petty
working at
thing, but
MSU,
it's a
that
thing.
was a huge thing.
That's a thing.
It was like
Really?
they had to literally regiment into a system where like, okay, X group does it 1 week, next group,
Really?
next group, next
That's-
group, and they had a schedule and everything like that.
Wow.
It
Total
became such a
tailoredness.
problem. Where no one wanted to take the initiative of, and it's like literally it takes 30 seconds because it was an automated process where you
Yeah.
really just make sure that hey, there's no like coffee, there's no filter in there. Put it cleans itself and it like runs hot water through it. It takes 30 seconds and people would not do it. And it's like,
Yeah. That's the bystander principle.
fortunately,
right?
it wasn't on my floor, so I didn't actually have to deal with any of that personally. But it was just one thing. Whenever I went to that floor, it'd be like, this is a whole thing now.
This
I'm
is
like,
the whole
or I
thing.
knew a bunch of people up there, and it'd be like,
Like,
stuff
What?
like that I never get involved in because I just don't utilize it. Like I don't drink coffee, so anything revolving the coffee machine, it's like whatever.
But the
It's,
tea.
not my issue. I don't use the vending machines. Like, oh, vending machine's out of this thing. It's like, oh, whatever.
yeah.
Like there's a lot of things like that, like the consumable break room stuff. I just am not a part of. One of the big things for me recently was we had and it's not even like it's someone's fault. It's just we had a microwave that sucks.
And people
Yeah.
rage about it all day.
Yeah, it's every time it's used, like, oh, the microwave.
Yeah.
It's like,
To me, at
Yeah.
that point, it's just like, okay, come on. This we can't let this bring down your day, buddy. Like we can't let this bring down. I'll call him buddy.
Right.
and
Yeah.
it was
So they
more of
made
a
it
joke
fun.
than anything. But like,
yeah.
it's
I get you.
it's
There's some people who take
that's
that
the
super
only thing.
seriously.
Some
and
people
I'm like,
do.
Dude,
Some people do.
don't let that control your life. You're letting an external factor control your life.
Yeah.
If you let that happen and go off the rails, you're not gonna have a fun time.
Those are the type
So,
of people that
yeah.
like sometimes I've had that happen to me. Like people come over to my chair and they're like, you know what's really sucky? I can't get any blue pens. Like this is legit. Someone legitimately.
hold on.
I'm like
Let's
blue pens.
Rewind for a sec though. It's like if someone random person comes to your desk and starts complaining to you.
No. This was like someone like on an adjacent team. That
Okay.
I've talked. It was like I've talked to them maybe once or twice before. They were new. They were also an intern. So they're like, can you believe this? No blue pens. I use blue pens for all my homework in college or something like that. I'm like,
Cool story, bro.
what is going on? What is going on?
Yeah, right.
This
And when
people
someone
do this.
complains like that, you realize they don't have enough to do.
Yeah,
because that means they need to add more to their workload because they aren't doing enough
Yeah.
work.
It's
I
just
like when people complain to you like expecting like you're gonna fix the issue.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
that's not my job.
This is not my.
I sit next to the printer. Okay.
they're like, you're an
and
expert, right? You know everything about the printer.
Yeah,
Well,
right.
you're,
Like I'm the
you're also
printer.
in
Like,
IT,
fix it.
so
I'm
yeah.
also in IT, so kind of. But then
Yeah.
it's like, oh, it's out of paper. And I'm like, paper's
Get
over
the
there.
paper.
Like,
Yeah. They just go back there.
It's like,
to
oh, we're
help
out of
that-
paper. Like,
help
and
desk
then they
request.
check the room. It's like, oh, we're out of paper there. And I'm like, talk to that guy. It's
Yeah.
like, not. What
That'd
do you
be
expect me to do?
that'd
about
be
it?
funny if I was working for the same company as you, Sean. I'd help desk request you for new paper. I'd be like, can you please ask Sean to fill it up? He's right there. I need more paper in this printer.
Oh, I would too. I would, yeah. I mean, actually,
CC
no,
your manager.
no. Wait. Sean and I
That
would
would
be working
be
in the same
pretty funny.
department, so it'd be between. Colton would just be sending it to either one of us and be like, "Fucking fill the paper, guys."
Fill the paper.
Yeah, and then I would CC your manager and be like, "This is something that is not within my job responsibilities, as outlined by the HR documentation."
I'd be like, shit.
It becomes this-
This was a joke. This is a joke.
This is a waste of my time.
Yeah, actually, oh god, what was it? There was actually a good joke. The one lady I was talking about earlier, one of my team members, she ran out and like close to her place, there's an awesome little food truck, and she picked up some tacos from it, and then she's like, "Hey, I'll bring them to you for lunch." And I was like, "Sweet, here, because she's coming into the office, so I was like, oh, it was a little out of my way, and she's like, "Oh, pick them up, thanks." And she's really cool, we're friends. But she's like, "Oh, cool, thanks." So picked him up, and I was telling the friend about it, right? And she's a sarcastic asshole. She would appreciate me saying that.
So I am
If she ever heard
fully
that, she'd be like,
fully into
yeah,
it.
that's me. Yeah. I mean, it'd be pot calling kettle black, right? But so she literally wrote down like an HR thing, like it's like, "Hey, you need to give this to her next time you see her," and it's like this whole like formal complaint form, and it's like, "Bring me some fucking tacos or some what was it, Mexican street corn," right? And then obviously it's a joke,
Yeah.
but like she's the type of person who would do that.
Yeah,
and I was
yeah.
like, okay, this is fucking funny. And I actually did. I screenshotted it and sent it to my team member, and she was like, "Oh my god, I'm fucking dying laughing." But yeah, obviously, I just ripped up the paper afterwards, but
It was a funny moment.
no, it was funny.
I think
I
think my company has a legitimate we have something called P specs, process specifications for like heat treating metals, and if we have to put like some sort of like potting element or any like processes for different parts and different assemblies for our product. And I think there's literally one for bagels, something like
Wait,
that.
for
We have a
bagels?
bagel club that everyone takes really seriously. And I think there's a process specification for like
Wait.
bagels, like permissible bagel joints. Like I know, like it was like if you're not in the bagel club, you can't take a bagel.
Yeah.
I know when I was first starting at this company, I just like at 3 p.m. bagel club is done. They still have bagels. There's like 4 or 5 bagels in the bag. I'd go and take a bagel, and they're like, "Hey, you can't do that. You're not in bagel club."
seriously,
I'm like, bro.
that's so bullshit.
I'm like, bro.
It's so petty.
But they're
Huh?
everyone's done eating their bagels. Like, nope, I'm throwing them in the trash unless
What?
yeah, it's like literally, I'm gonna take them, throw them in the trash. I'm like,
oh my god,
guys, we're taking this way too seriously. Come on now.
yeah. And see,
Like,
this is why we waste so much fucking food. It's
Yeah.
like-
Or just time. Like that's just extra time
just-
that's
yeah,
not going to come back.
I
petty.
just don't. I guess I don't understand that mindset, but because I'm not hyper.
we're just
type
not
A
those kind of
person.
people. Yeah,
Yeah.
like you can have a bagel.
Well, there's
bro.
also like I've heard stories of, you go to a store and you want to buy X product. It's like, okay, I'm going to buy all of this X product, and the person says no, we can only sell you one. It's like, why? It's like, in case someone else wants to buy it. I'm like,
Wait a minute.
I am that someone else.
Yeah.
I want to buy it.
Let me buy
Like, what are
20
you doing
packages
here?
of toilet paper. I want 20 toilet paper packages.
Yeah, well, I mean, it makes sense in like in the post / like, you know, the whole quarantine environment when like stores are selling
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you can only buy two things of toilet
Well,
paper.
there's
right?
all
Because-
that's an instance of the few ruining it for the many, and
Yeah.
that happens quite a bit.
But for
in
like
the
a
initial-
random product that's like not like
Yeah.
an essential, and like you're like, I just want to buy like a bunch of them. And they're like, no, so what the fuck?
It's like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Why can't I do that?
Yeah,
It's-
that's what
it's
wholesale
kinda-
stores are for anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Are there any toxic culture traits that if your company implemented them, you would just leave, or you'd be like, "Yep, see you, fam. I
That's a
ain't
good
doing
question.
this." I feel like
Dress, actually no, dress. I'm not too bad about. I like the freedom,
going
but
off that, or were you gonna say dress requirements like uniforms? Man, if I did,
I would say dress requirements, but if they're too much, like if
Yeah.
I was said, okay, you got to wear a suit, like, no, I'm quitting.
you would
no,
actually
for
quit?
me, I wouldn't mind.
I think I would. Especially if they're not going to provide me the money to buy
Oh
a
yeah,
suit.
they need
like,
to give
Yeah.
you a suit money.
like
That-
heck
they
no.
do.
You know how much that costs?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but yeah, uniforms, man. That's definitely one.
Uniforms
for me.
would
like,
suck.
I don't mind like the slacks or cat. Like, well, actually, no, I do. Jeans. I wear dark wash jeans. Those are good enough. If you really get on my ass about that stuff, I'm just gonna leave.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it's like if I had to wear a uniform for something, I'd be like, I'm not a fast food worker.
Yeah,
This is a professional
I don't
environment.
work
I
at
wanna-
Best Buy. You know,
Yeah,
like-
right. I'll wear a nice button down, but I want to have the choice. For me, it's all about agency. Like I want to be able to.
let me show my
make
style off, bruh. We just talked about drip previous episode.
Yeah.
we need to show our drip off. You know?
Yeah.
If they implemented some sort of like increased hour things, heck no.
Oh, yep. So you would have quit my company like a year or two back.
Yeah,
forced
when they said you had to
Saturdays.
come in Saturdays, I would have quit.
Yeah, as
Yeah.
many people did. They're like, no, if they're gonna do this, we're not doing that again.
There's what else? If there was a I don't know, if there was some sort of regulation on like when and how to do things. That's very general,
Mhm.
but that's kind of the umbrella I'm working with. And it kind of goes along with Michael's agency thing. It's like, if you're going to tell me how to do this thing, then
Yeah.
I don't need to be here.
Well, especially if it's like inefficient or like one thing that bothers me is like I'll see like these systems, right? I'm like, for me, one thing I really like to do is try to improve and like automate and improve systems, right?
Yeah, as
Just-
is natural with people in IT, I think.
Yeah, but then you see the system and it's like basically regulation is like you have to do it this way. I'm like, I can do it in an automated way
Yeah.
that literally like will save people like tens of hours a week, but you're just not gonna allow me to do it. And like,
Yeah.
I'll implement it for myself and not tell anyone about it. But if someone like comes out of it, it's like, this is so stupid.
That is
right?
a little
So,
dumb. I don't know why would they
Colton,
do that. Just because it's tried
you
and
should-
true. A certain way.
This is random. Colton, you should buy bagels
Oh,
and then have your own club. And then if someone tries to go for it, you'd be like, no,
No,
you're
no,
not
you're
in
not my
Colton's
club.
club.
You're not my club.
Colton's Bagel Club.
Go away.
And you just throw it away in front of
yep. Just dunk
go
it
to
right
that
into
one
the
guy.
trash.
Like, hey, you got bagels? But you're not my club. See ya. Yeah,
Yep.
that'd be funny. That'd be pretty funny.
last day. It's just do that.
Last
Yeah.
day. You want to know one of the things I was thinking about doing on my last day? A little bit of a tangent here, but we use a big like library for all of our parts because I'm a mechanical engineer. I make parts, right, for all the listeners listening. So we make a lot of 3D models. I was thinking about just making some like parts, like dummy parts, because you have to assign a part number to all the parts.
Yeah.
And I was like, I might just like make one called like 42069 and just make it like a dick or something. I don't know if that would actually get me in a lot of trouble like later down the
I
line.
don't know. Maybe not.
I think if someone found it, they'd be like, "Man, this guy, I'm not going to be his reference anymore."
Yeah.
we're gonna shit
That's
on him.
true. Or yeah. But I mean, depends on how deep you file it into the filing system.
I could
So-
I could do it as deep or as like surface level as I wanted. I could make it pretty easily found.
Obscure.
I was thinking about like
You know what I think
Or go ahead, Sean.
Just make it a circle. Make it a bagel. Make it
There
giant
we
bagel.
go.
A
That's a
bagel?
good one.
There
Make
you
it a
go.
bagel.
Yeah, Colton's bagel.
Mike
design.
gave us
Innocent
very
design.
well.
That's easy to make in CAD too.
Yeah, that'd
Yeah.
be easy.
It's like a shape and a transform, right?
Yeah.
There's a I just thought of a thing here. What are some stupid double standards that corporate environments have? And I think of one here, which is not you could argue for or against, but the 2-week policy. Like, I'm quitting.
Oh, yeah, like how that's the
I now need to, or you don't need to,
Right.
but it's like
It's like-
considered improper to not give 2 weeks notice.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a double standard though, because if you're getting fired, you're not given 2 weeks notice. You're just fired.
Well, hopefully
Yeah.
they give you like a severance package, which is better than a 2 weeks
Well,
notice at least.
But for a
Depending
severance
on
package, you need to be there for some amount of time for the most part.
yeah, and also, well, there's also legal things, right? For instance, in Michigan, companies have to pay your unemployment.
They do.
So they basically I think it's like 6 months or something like that. It's like
That's
if you get
interesting. Yeah.
fired, they basically they're guaranteeing
Yeah.
you money.
So instead of quitting your job and going on that like 3-month sabbatical, do some really
Just be
stupid
so
shit and get
inept that
fired.
you get fired.
Yeah.
But you're also making shitty pay from unemployment.
Yeah.
But
Honestly,
Yeah, but I just think it's dumb. It's one of those double standards. It's like,
they could just fire you, and some companies do. Yeah, they just throw you out right there, then and there.
and it's the whole like, if I just quit tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
it's just looked down upon in a way that firing somebody is not.
Yeah, they might, at least your references or whoever talks to your employer, if that somehow gets out, that would look bad on you when you apply to the new job, which
Yeah.
it shouldn't because it's at will technically, right?
and
Like, you
yeah,
should.
2 weeks. Yeah,
2 weeks
and
isn't
2
usually a
weeks
lot.
is not. But also in some regards, it's almost like crazy because a lot of places it's literally 6 months. I think at MSU it was like if you're a salaried employee, you have to like give, because they have to basically give time for your replacement. So I remember hearing something like where you have to have like literally like if you're there for 10 years, they gotta find someone because they basically have to retrain the person, for like to do your job for 6 months, and then you can actually leave. And there's like some like
That's
weird
What?
stipulations.
dumb
Huh.
as well. Like,
Like, you can't leave, or they would like be really
Or-
look frowned upon if you left before 6
Like really
months.
frowned upon. Yeah, if
Oh.
you have basically you need like a lot more leeway time. I don't know if that's just because of the person was wanted to be like really nice about it and like really kind, but it was like one thing I was like, oh, that's really strange. of,
Yeah,
like,
that is pretty strange.
6 months.
6
They have to
months
leave-
notice.
Yeah. So.
I don't even know where I'm going to be in 6 months,
Yeah,
let
it's like-
alone,
Yeah. Right.
It's like,
Fuck yeah. Exact same way. I'm like, I don't know, but yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I think also, I guess I'll play devil's advocate with this. I think the company definitely is like it. Remember, you're in the end for a company, you're just a paycheck. You're a bottom line. Your money, right?
Yeah, in most circumstances, you're just a part. You're not.
a cog in
person.
the
Yeah.
machine. Yep.
and you're like you're a cost benefit weight there. So the firing is like, all right, it's gonna if it's gonna cause us more harm to keep this person on for like a little bit longer, and then eventually let them go, or like
Yeah, I mean, one of the things is if you're being fired, generally it's for a bad performance, and you'd want them gone anyway.
Mhm.
yeah.
So that's why the double standard isn't terrible in the sense, but I just think, if you can be fired at will, then you can leave at will. If that
Without-
makes sense.
without, like,
and you
the-
shouldn't be looked down upon for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. That'd be nice.
Yeah, and we haven't even like run with anything that's like contract, right? Because we're still doing like at will, right? There's still places where it's literally there's contractual stipulation where it's not at will employment, right?
Yeah, and I don't like that. Like I wouldn't.
I'm more of an
there's a
at-will kinda
contract
guy.
work, and I'm like, I don't want to do contract work.
Yeah. I'd much rather be at will. In case I do
Yeah.
get pissed off and be like, hey, it's my 2-hour notice. See ya.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
screw you,
Dude,
screw you.
it's
I'm
funny.
out. You're cool.
We were talking,
I'm-
we were talking earlier about like us being like salaried, right? Like we switched from like hourly to salaried. Now it's like I want to go back to hourly because that way I can actually
So
like if I
get-
do have to work overtime, I get paid for it instead of
Yeah.
having to like basically being like, well, I gotta basically just play the politics
That's
kind of
here.
not working.
Here's a
overtime.
double standard. Usually, I don't know if this is how the company sees it for you, but for me as an engineer working with a customer, we bill the customer per hour, and my most companies when you're working with a customer, you bill the customer per hour, and the customer has to pay the company, right? However many dollars per hour that you bill, even if you bill 50 hours in a week. But if you're salaried, you only get paid that 40, right? This is something that Carly gets. She doesn't get paid overtime. Most companies don't pay overtime.
Not if you're salaried.
Yeah,
Not for
I
salary,
was
no.
lucky in
It's
my
almo-
current job where I was paid overtime, but that's like a dark horse. That's so
Yeah.
it's so unique. But like like
for me,
oh, go ahead.
yeah. If I work over like 45, I'll basically get comp time.
That's good.
But-
At least you get something.
but that's over 45.
Yeah.
So it's like
you have like
and then you
this,
have to kind
A
of
lot extra
negotiate it.
hours.
yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
I need to talk to my manager about hours because like flex hours in a way.
Ooh,
Like
flex
obviously
hours.
I'm salaried, but you're expected to work 40 hours a week. And there will be times where you need to work more than that, especially in IT where you want to do some stuff after hours,
Yeah.
Yep.
But does that mean you can
Now-
work less than that when you don't need to?
Well, that's what I want to find out. Like,
Yeah.
okay, what's the stance on, okay, I stayed till like 7 one day. Can I come in at 10 the next day?
yeah. Yeah.
Like that to me makes sense to me.
Right. Yeah. Flex schedule.
But that's never been defined. So I'm going to figure that out.
Yeah.
I have
Because the other
respect.
day I was there till like 6,
Yeah.
I would have loved to come in an hour later the next day.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah.
I think
I
that's
don't
respectable if you could do that. That's like if I was a manager, I'd let you do that. No problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if it's not allowed, it's one of those things that's like, well, that's odd.
That's a
and
double
Not
standard.
the thing I want to stick around for.
Yeah.
That's odd. I'm gonna
'Cause
quit.
That can be exploited, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah, that
I-
turns bad real fast. I think if you don't give
Yeah.
them the fairness of that.
It could
Yeah.
be, but I mean, part of that's on the manager of the team, or
Mm-hmm.
just when you hire somebody, it is an element of trust. That you're going to do the job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and you build the repertoire. Like I just because I have that balance. Like I don't want to work more than 40 hours a week.
Mhm.
It's and I don't mind flexing when I work in the sense that like I'll need to come in later, but we're working more hours in a day. But I still would like my total to be 40 because that's the previously agreed upon arrangement.
Right. Right.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah. Also, on-call hours for IT specifically is a
On call as
That's-
well is when that comes up for my job. I'm going to be heavily discussing this.
That's what I was gonna ask you guys because Sean, you're like super into like only 40 hours, but I thought IT was really about the on-call like culture, I guess. And
It depends on what
that
you're
solves-
doing.
I thought.
It's not about the employees are not about the on-call culture. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. Like you should get an
No,
hourly
it's-
pay or
it's-
something for on-callness, or give me like a $50 Red Robin gift card or something. I don't know.
At my previous,
I'm of the opinion that you should be paid if you are called. You should be compensated for that, or even if you're not called, you should be compensated because you have to change your entire weekend plan,
Yeah. Yeah.
or after work plan to be able to take calls.
That hits your personal
That
life
makes
for
sense.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a huge thing. And my previous work did not have a good policy regarding it. You got paid like the time that took you for the call, which is like nothing.
Yeah. Overall.
Because it's usually pretty quick. And we haven't really discussed that for my current job, but because we don't have on call yet.
Yeah, my I don't really have on call right now for mine, except for like, hey, well, basically my manager calls me, then it's on call. But if I don't get like I don't have to do help desk calls over the weekend, which is awesome. Mostly just due to the company culture.
Mhm.
Yeah, one thing at my previous job though was a lot of on call. Like it was MSP, so very
Very much on call, like
yeah.
culture kind of thing.
And so it was like every couple weeks you'd have to do an on-call, like essentially a full week of on-call, which
Yeah.
was absolutely brutal.
That
There was
is
one week I
brutal.
worked 70. I worked almost 70
I
hours.
mean, that's like insane. Like, why can't they split that up to like
Yeah. Yeah.
other people. I don't
You
know.
get like
It's not
you
enough
got like
people,
a couple
probably.
$100 as a bonus like for that, but like it did not
It's not worth
compensate.
it.
yeah, that's not
the time.
The hourly rate there is pitiful for
It is,
that. Yeah.
For me, I would rather have, frankly, I'd rather have time over money for on
Yeah.
call.
Yeah.
Because for me, my
Oh,
time
you
is
could like
more
take more time
valuable.
off for that.
Exactly. Like I want to have time compensation.
That'd be great. Yeah, you get like a
that-
day off or something, or like if you worked a certain amount of
Yeah.
hours, you get that many hours off, or even if you divided it by like half an hour, like
Bingo.
for the amount of hours you work,
Or like half
hour.
time, like
yeah.
half the time that you're on call, you get as those in hours
Yeah.
for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or,
That'd be
That's
perfect.
even that's quite a bit, I would say. Even
Yeah,
quarter
sure.
time would be a lot.
Sure. Yeah, that would
Yeah.
work.
But that if I get that as PTO, fuck yes, because then I can because for me the PTO is pretty valuable.
PTO
Right
is
now,
very
I
valuable.
think I have the least PTO of all of you guys. But I mean that's a whole other separate thing as PTO. But
Yeah. What do you guys?
yeah.
What do you guys think of unlimited PTO policy? Is that fake?
That
And
is
like
a-
and like in the way we can stock up too.
No, it's like unlimited. It's like they're like our policy is unlimited paid time off. Do you think it's fake?
that
fake
is
You
a
just take it
double-edged
whenever you
sword.
want.
It's a
or
double-edged sword.
what?
Just let me know that. Just let you know that.
Yeah, it's like yeah, you get unlimited time if we accept your time off. Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
Like you don't have a contract saying you get this many hours per month or whatever, right? It's just unlimited as long as they approve it.
Who approves it? Your manager.
Yeah, your manager. That's actually the thing going in my new job. It's technically unlimited PTO, and I'm like,
Yeah.
well, my job that I'm coming for, the other job that I was vouching for was giving me 4.5 weeks, so I'm like expecting 3 to 4 weeks for this new job, and he's like, okay. And I'm like, cool. As long as we're holding to that, and I'm not gonna be like fucked,
Yeah.
then we should be good.
I think my current company is like 3 weeks. Do you stock up to?
Yeah.
You start with nothing,
Right.
and then you have to build up to it.
So that's an interesting one. Yeah. For me, it's I get 2 weeks PTO, but I also have because we're manufacturing, we have a furlough week, essentially an off week, and I get that essentially off.
That's cool.
So I have a full
Well,
week.
that's weird
that
in
I have to take off.
manufacturing, though.
GM has it.
Really?
I think all car companies have it. They usually have 2 weeks in the summertime between basically when they're doing production runs.
I know they have that in the Christmas. They take Christmas to New Year's off, which is also awesome. Like super high tier.
Yeah.
Policy.
But I mean, you have friends in like the manufacturing, right? So, yeah. I mean, and I do too.
I've just
So-
never heard of that.
I
Yeah.
haven't either, actually. Even the people I know that are in manufacturing. I don't know if I know anyone in the car manufacturing industry though. That's an engineer at least. So kind of cool.
The downside to
cool.
that, as a company standpoint, it's like, okay, we're giving people less vacation weeks, and we're having like a mandatory just like year off. That means everyone's going to try and schedule their time off around that time, so that they can extend their vacation.
Potentially.
So realistically, you're just working less. It's like
Yeah. I mean,
it's
I did it.
a really weird way to do it, from a company standpoint.
yeah. Mhm.
I mean, but it just allows people more time. I don't know. I don't know the actual true reason for it. I think I think it's just to like usually it's like I think it's just standard. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just like how
I mean,
it's
it's kind of
always
cool. I mean,
happened.
I'd love to have just a week off
In the summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that.
I have a situation for you guys, and I want you to tell me if this situation is goals or if it is sad. If it is not goals. So
Okay.
I don't know if I've told you guys this before, but one of we have a friend, Carla and I, where their goal in life, their goal in their career is essentially to change jobs or to change positions in their job so much that they get completely lost within all the different people, to where they're like they keep getting transferred managers and they're put on so many different projects that they essentially can, whenever they get new work, they're just like, I can't take that work, I'm working for this manager. But those managers are so removed so they can't cross-reference that. So she eventually just doesn't work at all. Like that's her goal. Her goal is to get
that seems really weird.
her goal is to get lost in
Yeah,
the
I don't
company
feel that would work.
to do full work from home. But then like she has like 7 managers she's doing work for, quote unquote. So whenever she gets asked to do something, she's like, I can't do that. I have to work on this project for this manager. but there's so much bureaucracy in the company. They don't cross-check each other's. So.
It'd be really funny if it worked. I don't think it will.
You don't think it will?
I
She's
think-
apparently really close. She's working like 20 hours right now. She's about to transfer. She transferred just now again. She's like, I think I can get it down to 10 hours a week of work. And then she thinks that she'll get
interesting,
it
yeah.
to like.
I mean, I could see that 20 years ago, but modern communication systems, I mean, they're still fairly inefficient, but they're much more efficient than they were 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that's
So,
possible.
but the thing is,
I mean, it reminds me of Office Space. Have you guys ever seen Office Space?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think I have. Wait, well, isn't this about
Dude,
people like
you gotta
ignoring
watch
their
it.
jobs or something like that? Just,
It's pretty funny.
Just not even.
There's
like,
there's a character in that basically he like
He just stops
basically a
working
glitch.
and then gets promoted because of it.
Yeah. Well, and also,
Why?
no, I'm talking about the other character who's basically just in the system because of a glitch, and
Oh,
he's getting paid.
that's like-
even though he was technically fired 5 years ago or
that
something
would be
like that.
so
Oh, yeah.
funny. Honestly,
Yeah.
well, but I guess whether or not it is or isn't possible, would that be something that you guys would actually be like in for? You're like, yeah,
Oh,
all I
God,
have to
no.
do is go in on
Nah.
Friday, put my hours in,
That
I
seems
walk
like
out.
too much work for too little return.
If you make like, she's like 35, she's probably making like 90 to 100.
But it's
Not doing
also
any
like,
work?
It's also like the lying aspect that I wouldn't be comfortable
Yeah.
with.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's true.
See, for me, I don't mind that. For me, it's I just feel like I wouldn't be doing anything. Like when I work, I want to have like
You
I
want
need
to
a
do
sense of
something.
accomplishment.
Yeah. Yeah. You need to like feel like
again,
you're doing something.
agency. I have this desire
I mean,
to
you
make
could
sure
argue
that
trying to game the system is a form of accomplishment.
That is your
it's
passion.
true.
You're just like
but the
100%ing a game. You're like,
Yeah.
did it, done.
It's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it is pretty. I mean, nice. Here's the thing: what I do, I would side hustle. I would have like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
side job or
Do
something
a
like
small
that,
side job.
and then you'd get paid for the thing. And especially if you're making like, 100K, I'd be like,
I mean, bro, yeah,
that's-
do like wait some
Yeah.
tables, bartend or something. Yeah, you're doing great.
That'd
yeah,
be one of those things where like, I'm going to get caught doing that one day and then be like, well, something
Yeah.
bad's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, like,
yeah. Your luck isn't that you don't have a high luck stat like
Yeah.
that.
yeah. Honestly, I don't know, man. I think it would be a lot easier than we'd expect. In my company right now,
In a big enough company, probably.
in my
yeah.
company right now with like 3,000 to 4,000 people, I swear, dude, you could get away with that for maybe 3 months. I could probably get away with not doing work for like 3 months. I almost guarantee it, because I'm also working on projects for different people, for 3 or 4 different managers, and I just feel like not enough people are checking on me. Like I could just like walk out of the building on like Thursday, like at 10 a.m. and just not come back, and no one would care. Most of the time, it would be like,
Gonna
That's very
fish
much
on
an
your
office
cubicle.
based thing. But yeah, like
Yeah.
I've never been in a situation where that was me,
Yeah.
either because like my department is just not possible. Like so that concept of like
oh, you can't just leave like IT, like when people need IT.
yeah,
Yeah,
like I could take a longer lunch than is specified or
Yeah.
stuff like that. But there's been no instance where I could just like say I have work for somebody else. That doesn't happen.
yeah,
You know?
Yeah.
Also, you have to
That's
remember
weird
that
to me.
in like IT, right? From a business perspective, it's a cost. It's a necessary cost normally, but you're usually working on projects that are fixing problems rather than like producing. Like, whereas an engineer, right? You're producing a product that the company will sell. So you're like you're positive cash. I forget the technical term for it, but it's like you're adding
Adding value to the
essentially adding value,
revenue.
right? Whereas we're just like we're removing. Our job is to remove
Impediments.
remove negatives,
Yeah.
remove impediments from the workflow. So usually we'll have a little bit more scrutiny. Plus, I don't know. I think there's a culture around IT that
There's a weird culture around IT that I don't agree with either. Specifically,
What is
IT.
this culture? Like the weird IT.
Well, I mean,
culture?
like what Michael said, like we're an expenditure, so people try and minimize the amount of cost for IT, but by doing that, you minimize the amount of productivity for your company.
Yeah.
in a lot
the
of
long
ways,
run.
yeah. Or
People
you're not-
don't understand the benefits IT. So to me, IT shouldn't be a cost; it should be an investment.
Yeah.
exactly, yeah.
Um,
And
Not,
also, it's
not,
like
not many people think of it that way. So that's why IT tends to get downsized or, sent out to India or whatever, and it just never
yeah.
works out.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, no, yeah. Outsourcing to other countries usually does not work out for internal
Outsourcing IT just doesn't work. I mean, it's and unless you have a very like an MSP, or like they provide they provide IT for several small businesses. But once you get to a
Yeah.
certain size, you have to have your own IT, or it's just not going to be a good time.
Yeah. Or it's just going to be more frustration than it's actually worth.
Yeah, more cost sucking.
It's the thing with like IT constantly spends money, and they need to, because they support the entire business.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
make sure
it's like-
everything's running smoothly.
Like I buy like $5,000 worth of PCs every other week.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like that's a lot of money. You know, but it's a
someone
necessary
broke their
cost.
PC accidentally. Here's a $1,500 PC. Thank you very much.
There you go.
Yeah, and then someone will go, well, why are we spending so much money? It's like, I don't know. Why don't you tell Steve to stop breaking all his laptops? Like,
Steve
Exactly. Yeah.
keeps throttling the CPU. Yeah.
so it's that kind of scrutiny or culture that exists around IT that I don't like.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah. I think there's this is kind of way off topic, but I think there is definitely a market for producing that, like closing that gap. Honestly, that's what I want to go like for my career, right? Is to try to close that gap between the culture of IT.
Well, it'd be great to be in a position where you can do that at a company,
Yeah.
like
It's like-
director, VP of technology.
Right.
And be like, okay, we need to actually drill it into the CEO's head that this is how it is. It's
Yeah.
like,
And basically sell the idea of IT
Yeah.
where it's investment.
Yeah.
Because honestly, my current company does a great job. We actually have our own like dev group because we have a homegrown software that we use for like website and stuff like that.
that's pretty advanced.
It is, yeah. And so it's pretty awesome because we have usually a little bit more. I use the term grace
Because you're actually producing something for the company, the
right.
application.
And having good IT allows the company to grow and succeed because of having that way the website and the giant ERP system actually keeps running.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely, fellas.
yeah, I
Like,
mean, we
okay,
got
what's your opinion of your company's IT, Colton?
Honestly,
Or do you ever even see them?
I never see the
But
IT.
that's also an
I
opinion
never
to have.
see.
that's actually a good thing though.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
like,
a great thing.
IT
If you don't say IT,
to me, I'm just like, I'm like try to open my NX CAD and it just like breaks my computer, or if there's like an error, I'm like, okay, so here am I. Please solve this for
and
me.
then as IT, we're going to go engineers.
Yeah,
come on,
yeah, of
they're
course,
afraid-
yeah. IT,
right?
is they're in the shadows to me. I know there's like I've had some stupid like moments with IT. I don't know. You guys have probably gotten like some like, oh, this idiot. I remember I reset my password
the
for my
time.
computer because like you have to every like month or 3 months or whatever. But then I reset it quickly and I forgot it and I'm like, uh-oh. I need to. I was like, I can't submit a help test.
Okay,
because
well, I'm gonna be honest here, man. The
happens
IT
quite a
people
bit.
definitely laughed at that
yeah,
one.
yeah. I mean,
Especially an engineer, they would definitely be
I'm
like they laughed behind your back
and
on that one.
I could send a help desk in because I can't get to my email. So I'm like, I have to find the IT like phone number and put a request in there. And I was like out. I was literally out for like a day and a half because I couldn't get into my computer. It was really sad.
At least you're not the person who does that every single week. I've run into people where it's literally every single week or 2 weeks that they don't remember the password. Fortunately, usually someone older, and it's like, dude, it's like,
Come on, man.
I understand, but at the same time, like, come on, man, just like it's like, so
Yeah. That I've done. I think IT gets a lot of stupid questions, and there's a lot of like head scratchers. Like I would think like 50% of the time is like stupid questions. I don't know. You guys would be able to tell me.
Yeah, probably
but-
more than 50% of the time.
Yeah. So
When I was doing like straight help desk, it was definitely more than 50% of the time. Like your situation, Colton, would happen every other day.
you're
Like
shit.
someone walks into the office and is like, "Hey, can someone reset my password?" Blah blah. They would do like, "Oh, my laptop can't turn on," and then I would just hold down the button for 30 seconds. It would turn on. I had to tell them to leave.
You're like, okay.
Like, but I can't send a ticket in because my laptop's not working.
yep.
All the time.
I don't know if that's like
Or-
like insufferable,
Yeah.
like that brings your day down, or if that's like brings
No,
joy
it's
to your day.
not. It depends on how the person is interacting. If they're cordial and professional about it, I'm like, sure, no problem. That's why I'm here. If they're like, I need to be in a meeting 2 minutes ago. Why is this working? I'm like, oh
Right,
my
yeah.
god, dude.
It's like,
how
come
about
on,
you go
man.
sit in the timeout corner and I'll help you in 10 minutes.
Hey, absolutely. That's exactly how I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's definitely the attitude of help desk where it's like, if you're cordial and nice, and honestly, the best is like when someone's like, oh, this is actually like, hey, this is my fuck up, and I realize it. The worst is when it's their fuck up.
And they blame you for it.
Realize it, and then they blame you for it,
Yeah,
and they're
like,
like, because they have to like basically they can't their ego can't handle it. I'm like, that's the worst, because that usually falls into like the whole corporate bullshit, and then it's like, okay, there's a bunch of political crap going on.
Yeah.
Like, dude.
Yeah. There's like being nice in life gets you a long way, but with IT, we'll give you the keys to the kingdom. It's like, it's like
flattery will get you everywhere.
Sorry, it's like, oh, to apologize, I brought a bunch of cookies, you know, and or like,
oh, dude,
hey, do you want your, you know, do you
Life
want this new
advice?
computer? You want this new
Here's some
life
donuts.
advice. Yeah, bring your IT people food, and they will let you do anything. Yeah, they will give you like, hey, we have this, we have a like a exec or something like that. You know, had to return their computer, right, because they got a brand new one.
Right.
But their other one is still excellent, and we're like, if we have nice people, we'll give them the fucking nice one, as long as we know that they're in a position where other people, because we had this is more of an issue, like in bigger companies where it's like, oh, other people like in the area will look at it and be like, oh,
like,
they got
I
a new
need
computer
it.
now.
I
want
want that 32
Yeah.
core
choosing
GPU or
MSU
whatever.
with monitors. Oh my god, I remember. So like we started
Monitors
rolling
are
out
big,
like the new
yeah.
monitors, and all of a sudden like everyone put in like 5. There's like literally 50 requests just for new monitors. I'm like,
Like, come on,
dude,
guys.
like
Yeah.
we can only do so much, and because it's like everyone sees the new monitors, like I want new monitors now.
We would
And,
at my previous company order batches of like 150 monitors at once.
Yep.
We would get
Really?
pallets of monitors that
Jesus.
show up.
That's how MSU was. Pallets of computers, pallets of monitors.
Yeah.
But did you guys have a like a contract with a vendor?
We just went through Dell.
Yeah.
I didn't know the specifications of if we had a contract, but that was just our vendor.
Yep.
Um,
Usually have a
Yeah.
like a dedicated vendor, because you're basically ordering so many computers that they give you like essentially like an MSRP.
yeah,
value
usually you
rather
get
than-
a volume pricing if you order
Yeah.
a lot. But depends.
for my company, Colt.
There are some departments that will not get you anything if you're nice to them.
Oh.
It doesn't matter if you're nice or rude or whatnot. And I think one of those is HR. It just doesn't
like,
matter
no, you don't
how
get it.
you
Yeah.
act.
For
Yeah.
for my company, the joke was, since everyone has a standing desk and has their own like a monitor, like arms, those arms that mount to the monitor, you can like move them.
Yeah.
Half the company had like new like bezel-less Dell monitors. Half the company had these older 5-year older like big thick bezel monitors. So the culture was like, if someone left the company, you would go steal their monitors off their desk.
Yep.
Or
Yep.
sometimes I came into work sometimes where people stole my monitors. I'm like, where are my nice
I
monitors?
still work here, guys.
And they're like,
Yeah.
where'd you do it? So I went and stole someone else's monitors, and then it's this whole thing where like, I want the thin bezeled monitors. I'm gonna get them.
No, see, that's where you put in the help desk request to IT saying, hey, someone stole my monitors. I need brand new monitors. It's
There
like,
you
all right,
go.
cool.
Cool.
Well, see, and it's one of those things where it's like that's one of the things IT hates, because it's like
I like how this has turned from corporate culture
Just to like
essentially
IT,
just
IT is suffering suffering.
well, it's one of those things where you'll have like, oh, I deployed this computer to this location. You go to that location and it's gone.
You're like, what happened?
all right. Who knows where that is now in
Yeah.
this giant facility
It's
here?
gone.
right.
It's gone.
No one tells you anything. It's just like the users, the employees just do things.
Yep.
Like, whatever.
And that's one thing that bothers me too, is like, we want to do this, right? And there's like a sweet spot where like bigger corporations will do like, it'll take forever to do anything. Like, hey, you need to set up a project and like actually do this, even though it's a very minor thing. Like, you actually need to set up a project and like go through like an entire thing just for the XYZ, right? You know, other time it's like it's just chaos and there's like no management on it. It's like, just fix it, do whatever, don't worry about it, right? You gotta like find like the sweet spot there between like the project level and stuff like that, because I love doing projects, and it's one thing I've been trying to push a lot, is like, oh, I need to set this up as a project and like plan it out and like stage it out.
Yeah. There's a thing, like, I hate when there's moments of like, we should have thought this through more. You know? And this happens in all departments.
Yeah.
You know, but a situation I had recently was, okay, we're building this thing. It's this big production facility, this line thing. We need these two things to talk to one another. This requires cables and switches, and
Hardware,
everything.
yeah.
Still building out that part of the facility, right? It's all coming online.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they're like, okay, we need to have a test of these things communicating to each other Friday. And I'm like no,
Big system.
it's like, but why not? I mean, we should be able to put that in place. And then I walk around the area with them and I show them like the network closet that's nearby. I'm inside. I'm like, there is no power here. The power lines have simply not been run. There's no
This is not
way
possible.
this can happen. It's like, and they're like, well, then how do we solve this? I'm like, talk to an electrician.
Get the power. We need power.
So then I get CC on the thing, and I'm like, well, maybe our contact at so-and-so vendor can update us on the time of the install, and then just left it at that. It's like nothing I can do.
Yep.
Sorry, I've done literally all I can do. I cannot do anything until power is here. And
There's
but no
actually...
one. There's like all these things that stack up generally, and part of that's because of the way my company is right now and in starting up as a startup.
Yeah.
But this happens all the time in other companies too, where it's like, oh, we need to have a conference right now, and then it's like,
Oh, okay.
okay, why are you telling us? Well, because there's no conference equipment in there. It's like, why did you not tell us this last week?
Yeah, like let us know.
It's been on the calendar for 2 months.
Or
I
new
bet.
hires. Okay, this is IT thing. New hires specifically, like where
Yeah,
you
yeah.
get like, 2 days before we have a new hire. I'm like, I don't have a computer set up to do this.
That would suck.
Like,
yeah.
yeah.
2
I
days
was like,
before, try 2 days after.
Yeah.
exactly.
And
Yeah. Oh, dude, absolutely.
This guy never
yeah.
had a computer
that's
when
the
you
thi-
started.
and
Like,
IT gets-
okay, did you tell me he was starting?
Yeah, IT gets blamed for that too. Like I almost guarantee like everyone blames IT for that not
yeah.
being a thing, even though they're the ones that never told IT what's
And that's
coming.
that's why I have to go political and be like, I'm CCing the manager of this person. Like, hey, they're the hiring manager
let me
slash the
explain
manager.
to you the detail of the procedure you did not follow that we have agreed to previously, and CC all of your managers. Have fun with that.
And your director,
Actually,
and your VP.
honestly, so my current company, thankfully, actually literally has like on our intranet, we literally have a form that you have to fill out, and if you don't fill out that form, you're not getting it. And
Yeah,
That's the
I
paper
built
trail.
that out at my company too.
oh, see, right, yeah,
Paper trail.
yep,
Need
it's
it.
It's like, that's what you need, yeah, because that's what the the higher ups like to view is like they need the paper, they need the metrics and the evidence.
Yeah.
yeah.
Metrics.
Well,
Yeah.
I've learned that, man, there were like people that had like 3 or 4 monitors at their desk, and I always tried to request I get a dual monitor setup by default. But I always requested that third one and got denied. And I'm like, why? Like, why do these people have 4 monitors and I get 2? It's because I never bought them donuts. So now I know going into my new job, like, okay, make friends with the IT people, get them donuts, let them know when I got donuts next to my desk. Let them come
Honestly,
in.
it does make a huge difference.
I,
We'd be like,
I believe that.
Colton, I know that guy.
I believe that
Yeah,
100%.
sure. We have an extra monitor.
I 100% believe that.
Yep.
Good advice.
Bribery works.
Bribery works. Listen up, kids. You're about to go into the professional world. Bribe your employees. They will do what you
Bribe
want.
everybody.
Donuts are a great form of bribery. It's like 10x their actual value. You get donuts. It's like an $800 investment, but you only spend $80 on it.
It is. It's like you're investing in your future.
Yeah, with some donuts,
Yes.
some quality donuts.
Yep. Buy your IT people food.
Yes.
Some kolaches. Heck yeah, we go crazy for that.
Kolaches. What are those?
Have you never had kolaches?
Never had. Educate me. I don't know what they are.
They're a Czech pastry, not always a pastry. They're a Czech food that is a dough ball with an inside of something. So sweet, savory. There's a lot of good breakfast options like eggs and sausage or chicken.
Yep.
There's like sweet ones filled with jelly and things.
It's like
So-
a pass or it's like a pasty or what's the other one? Starts with another P word.
Pastry.
There's a
Panini.
not panini. It's a sandwich.
Pasty.
No, I'm trying to think of
Pierogi?
You had a pasty before. Pierogi, yeah. It's kind of like a pierogi, but not a pierogi because
Well,
pierogies
pierogies
are
are
Polish.
definitely
I
like
think.
more
They're more
pasta
pasta-y,
based.
yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
this is definitely dough.
Like a donut.
They're usually like fist size, give or take. And they're like a great breakfast item.
I'll keep
like,
that on the
super
short
good.
list. It'll be on the short list.
I love the sweet ones.
I love the savory ones. Heck yeah, the egg and sausage in the morning. Let's go.
I've got a big Czech portion of my family, and yeah, they'll make them. I'm like,
Yeah.
There's a really authentic one near my place in California. So
Maybe we'll go
maybe
there.
check that out on one morning.
Yes. Yeah, right. The morning we
And
have
you know
to.
You know they're authentic when they close
leave from
early.
LA.
They close at 2:00.
Yeah.
It's
What
like-
time do they open though? Like
Wait, is it
like 6 a.m.
Is that a European thing when they close
do it.
early,
We can
or
do
was that just like a what makes it authentic?
like a bakery.
Oh, like a real
Yeah,
bakery.
bakeries
Oh, yeah, yeah.
that close early
Yeah.
are like all
Because
fresh.
they're in at like 3 a.m.
Yeah, they're in
so
at the
they're definitely
yeah.
closing at
super
2.
early. Yeah,
Yeah,
gotta love it.
Yeah.
we've covered quite a bit.
Yeah, we've really gotten
We
into
have,
corporate
yeah.
culture. So all you youngins about to get into corporate culture, this is what you have to look forward to. But happiness, I guess. Kindness kills. Kindness, I guess, is how
Kindness
you get
kills,
through everything.
and so do bribes.
Yeah.
So make sure
So do
to
bribes.
make sure to bribe
Yep.
people with donuts and food.
And make sure to be really good at your first job, and then you can just be incompetent when you're like at the middle end, and it's okay because that's like that. You're good. You're totally
That's
good.
just
Peter
that's just the
principle.
norm.
That's the norm.
All right. Well, this has been Almost a Podcast. Thank you for listening. Make sure to do all the classic stuff like the follow, the like, and the
Smash that like
subscribe if
button.
you're watching. Yeah,
We
right. If you're
love-
watching us on
yeah,
YouTube.
hit the
Ding the
bell.
bell.
Ding it.
Oh God.
Ring it.
Okay, dude,
I never
hate
hit
that
the bell.
I
I
never,
gotta-
never
I gotta
hit the
say,
bell. You don't have
never
to
hit
hit the bell.
that
I
bell.
don't ever hit the bell because
Exactly. That's why
whatever.
I don't say it because I actually hate it. So, yeah.
Unhit
yeah.
the bell. Take it
Take
off.
it off.
We don't
Hit
want
the bell. Undo it.
Please
Don't
do
do it.
not be not notified whenever.